Nicholas Duorio,
My Little Pog Champs.
$5. Beep beep beep. Time for our morning drama wake up call.
How we doing, guys? Did you guys hear about Afghanistan? Shit sucks, yo.
I feel like I've outpaced him intellectually.
Fucking RIP my sleep cycle. I'm going to need a wake up call if I catch this stream live, Nathan.
Because I'm putting 100%.
I feel like I've outpaced him intellectually.
The rift awaits Angel Thump DGGL.
I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you, Steven!
I don't know what the fuck we're gonna talk about today. Because I said almost everything yesterday. Is there really anything left to go over? My hair is very edgy today. I don't know why. How are we doing, guys? You seen the ABBA and Preach anti-vax shit yet? Nope. Am I in a closet? No, I'm in a hotel room. With all the lights turned off. Did you know that Casey Tron was an extra in Breaking Bad?
Destiny.
Cutestiny.
What does this mean?
Michael, I just want to do an inventory.
Shut up. All right. Where do we even start?
I feel like I've outpaced him intellectually.
You got my Prime and website sub now, please stop fucking my mum.
I feel like I've outpaced him intellectually.
Maddie Cakes is your new cry bully. You hate to see it.
This is definitely not the first time. She's been doing this for a long time.
Do you ever feel like an NPC in like someone else's life?
I'm grieved to tell you that Nathan J. Robinson has effectively fired me and most of the current affairs staff because we were trying to organize into a workers' co-op. Sorry. Not funny.
Gabe, $5. Did you see Nathan J. Robinson fired his current affairs staff for trying to form a worker coup?
Yeah, I guess we'll just start talking and we'll see where we branch out to.
I feel like I've outpaced him intellectually.
Thank the gods. I'm no longer a white name.
The crazy lady vain person was talking about you in a relevance chat too. Literally called you a future rapist or future potential rapist. There's two things that are perpetually happening tomorrow. One is I'm going to turn into a conservative, and two is that I'm going to rape somebody. This is like for years now, these things have been inevitable. Just wait, Destiny's raping people right now. We're going to find out about it. Destiny's going to be a conservative tomorrow. Like, they're perpetually tomorrow. It's always tomorrow. Soon, it's going to happen. Yeah, any day now. That seems to be the case, but it hasn't happened yet. Soon, yeah, copium.
Fucking dubstep.
Keep my Prime sub, gamer man.
Thanks. Hold on, I gotta mute these. 1 sec.
You're a genius, dude!
My boy Wicked Smot.
Okay. Fuck. Okay, so just a real quick thing. I don't expect this to be like some big thing that I'm going to be super involved in, so I didn't like prepare a manifesto or written thing. I thought about it because there's a lot of shit out there, but honestly, like, this doesn't involve me personally, and I'm not so desperate for content yet that I need to start writing that up. You know, maybe when I get back for grinding legal up, maybe I will, but no. So regardless of that, fuck, I don't know where to start. 2 days ago, I think. I shouldn't say I think. I should actually know the timelines. It's also hard to think in like days ago because I think that my days are falling on slightly different timelines because I'm in Europe too. But I think about 2 days ago, Prime basically messaged me and he said like, hey, like somebody's about to drop a bunch of like sexual harassment things against me. I think it's bullshit. I'm trying to get ahead of it. And then like 12 hours later, Dylan and Katarina go live with the big expose stream. Now, I've kind of had my own personal theories, both generally and discreetly, like individually, about relationships and what's going on and everything. But I can't usually talk about any of this stuff for a variety of reasons, mainly because, yeah, it's hard to. But when those accusations dropped and I started watching Dylan's stream, and then I kind of started to go through the evidence that was publicly presented. I felt kind of bad that it looked like Prime was basically about to get the fucking axe for being pretty socially awkward and maybe being a little bit dumb in terms of like reading signals. I'm not going to die on the hill that PrimeCayes, you know, like acted perfectly. Probably could have read the situation a bit better. But nothing even remotely approached the level of like sexual harassment. Although it could have in other calls, but unfortunately, we don't have that evidence in front of us to be able to evaluate it. So we have to do like a lot of the inferencing game. Inferring things is hard and messy and imperfect, and everybody has different kind of instincts when it comes to this stuff. But I think that mine are generally pretty good. Just because I've been in a lot of really crazy, wacky, stupid situations, I feel like I have like a pretty good read on most things. But, you know, I'm not always perfect, so could be wrong on things. I don't even know where to go. Well, I don't know what to say. I feel like I talked about all of this with Dylan like a million times last night. What do I even like recover? Or not, I'm sorry, not recover. What do I even review? Can you describe what the allegation was? Man, fuck. I should have written up like a formal like manifesto or whatever. Or at least had like the formal links. So Stardust has a really good series of tweets, I think, about this, where fuck. Somebody link her Twitter because she like misspells her fucking name. ST. Or somebody linked the Stardust tweets or whatever. So this was the original claim. I think. Hold on, let's listen to these. We'll listen to these two clips. One sec.
First thing I want to elaborate on is what we talked about a little bit ago before we move on to this crazy call, is that Katarana did, and I just want to hear you, that she reached out to you to talk to Prime, then you, about the fact that Prime was sexually harassing her, then you talked to Prime, and then Prime did not stop his behavior and he continued.
Well, she wouldn't know if you would know if she asked him to stop.
No. Like, no, I think at one point you told me, like, just stuff wasn't stopping after. I think there was a time where I talked to him initially, after the first thing when I said.
So, let me be clear, like, right off the bat, okay? When you're going to drop what could essentially amount to, like, life-ending accusations on somebody, both metaphorically in streaming career and physically, and that he kills himself, I think that you should be a little bit more structured and clear about what it is that you're coming out with. If supposedly this has been ongoing for months, there's no reason to be fumbling around with your accusations or fumbling around with the evidence. Like, just be very clear, right? Did somebody tell him or not? Just to pull back on a macro level. So the accusation right now is that PrimeCayes was kind of maliciously flirting with or pushing the boundaries with an employee of his, Katarana, for months and months and months, and that she wasn't reciprocating and didn't appreciate it, but she felt pressured to continue because he was her boss. And even after being told that he needed to stop, he continued, like, moving forward with it. That is the accusation, okay? So here, the first really big, well, honestly, like, would you call it the linchpin? The most important piece of evidence for all of this that would, like, the biggest piece of evidence that would kind of, like, seal the deal for me when you talk about something like this is, do we have a piece of evidence that says that PrimeCayes was made aware of his behavior and he continued onwards anyway? Because if that happens, then that means that he's been made aware that somebody is uncomfortable and he continued pushing anyway, maliciously and just knowingly violated somebody's boundaries, right? Deliberate violation of boundaries. Really, 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 really bad. But here's what we got.
No. Like, no, I think at one point you told me like just stuff wasn't stopping after. I think there was a time where I talked to him initially after the first thing when I said, "Can I talk?" And I was just like, "Hey, I'm hearing stuff," because he brought up that somebody told him about the NCC chat, and then it was a talk, and then you messaged me like, "Hey, just so you know, it's still going on." And then I tried a more like direct. Maybe he didn't understand.
I don't know what maybe he didn't understand. So this whole conversation has been a big exercise. I hate to say it like this because it sounds really tippy. But maybe you can get an understanding, I guess, of like how I navigate conversations or how I survive in this world or whatever. So this whole conversation was like an exercise, and I have a lot of pieces of it. There's several things going on. I'm talking to Dylan. One is I know a lot of things that he doesn't know that I know, so I can ask him questions about things and see what he'll say, even though I know he's lying. And two, how would people react given a situation? I think, so I've said this a lot, when people are kind of misrepresenting something, usually what we'll look at is, well, what did they say, and was it true or false? But a really easy way to find out if somebody's not being 100% forthcoming is, what would they have said, right? So again, I'm trying to read into a lot of these, like, well, what would actually happen if this thing was going on, right? So hypothetically, in this scenario, like, if Katarina is getting harassed for months, and she told Samantha this, and said it was still going on, why the wishy-washy, like, well, I think I told him, well, I might have said something, well, right? That doesn't really line up with anything. It just doesn't make sense, you know? That doesn't click for me. Now, when I talk through a lot of these inferences, none of these things discreetly mean anything. It could just be that maybe it slipped her mind. It could just be that maybe she did think she had a conversation. She didn't. There's a lot of potential explanations, right? But all of it kind of like builds towards like, well, what can we infer about what happened? Because unfortunately, we don't have logs for any of this. So
a more like,
this is another thing.
Direct. Maybe he didn't understand, normal words. So I tried a more direct, like break it down Barney style.
Wait, can you clarify? So what you're saying is you did not only talk to him once about him sexually harassing Katarina or being kind of a
the
sex
first time
pest,
I don't think
twice.
I was direct in saying it was Kat. Okay, I think the first time I was just saying, hey, there's some things being said like this. Let's try to avoid acting like this or avoid anything like this from happening, especially since we've already had one instance around the channel with Kurt, right? The second time it was like, hey, Katarina's talking to me and I'm hearing some things that's kind of really fucked up, and this is not appropriate. Like, you got to fucking cut it out. And his typical response, like, "Oh, okay, got it. Thanks for letting me know. So I'll handle it."
And Katarina, did he stop once she said that?
No, and as I said, like, if there were any, if there was any deterrent, the deterrent was the fact that I wasn't having phone calls.
So, what's been like claimed so far, in my opinion, is enough to make Prime just look like a total piece of shit, and somebody that is engaged in like pretty bad levels of harassment. You've literally been told, hey, she doesn't like this multiple times, and you're still engaging in that behavior. That's pretty not cool. Sorry, that goes past not cool. Like, you're engaging in like a form of harassment. That's just like really fucked up. Now, the problem though, is the way that Samantha characterizes this conversation is, she says, I explicitly told him, I told him directly, I stopped playing games and I was more direct about it, right? This is what Samantha says. But when we look at the logs that were actually released, here are the logs. I can't like show my desktop because it's too complicated, but it's basically saying, hey, so this is Samantha speaking. Hey, FYI, I just received these. And it's screenshots of Katarina talking in another chat. Her saying, by the way, there's a major predator in the Twitch politics community, and I know NCC usually talks about this stuff. How do you suggest I go about this? A creator larger than NCC has been sexually harassing me. I don't feel safe. PrimeCayes responds, thanks, I'll reach out. Was this in Irene's chat? Samantha says, yeah. Prime says, good to know. That's it. So the idea that Samantha told Prime any of this stuff directly, absolutely zero evidence has ever been presented showing that. Prime himself denies that ever happened, and nobody else seems to be able to substantiate that pretty important claim. As I said before, that conversation is kind of like the linchpin to this entire allegation, because without that, all of this can be chalked up to awkward flirting. And I think that that was kind of like my problem with all of this, is a really big, potentially life-ending accusation has been thrown out towards Prime, and it just didn't materialize. Like, the evidence needed to substantiate that claim didn't actually materialize. And yeah, I don't know, that kind of bothered me. So what else? Another thing that bothers me as well is, again, I'm not looking at what people say, I'm looking at what people don't say. So when Dylan approaches Samantha after I make that assertion, I say, hey, do you have evidence of that? Instead of Samantha saying, sorry, that happened on a voice call, I'm going to go dig through DMs and find it. Or no, I'm sorry. Instead of saying, hey, that happened on a voice call, I don't have any record of this, she's like, hold on, let me see if I can find something. What is she looking for? Why would you go and search for stuff and then eventually come back and say, like, oh, it was on a voice call, I don't have like any kind of like log of that, I don't have any messages of that. Now, like, is it possible that she just forgot? Maybe they did speak on a voice call and she thought maybe it was in DMs, and maybe, but it's just like another little like ding where it's like, okay, kind of weak, but whatever. What else? In my opinion, as a massive coomer that fucks a lot and flirts a lot, I would say that it is very easy for me to understand that Prime could have thought that there was more than a friendly relationship in the beginning of his conversations with Katarina. Now that I don't have another person on this call to fight with me, I will just tell you point blank that giving somebody a morning wake-up call is arguably one of the most romantic things you can do for somebody. Like, that is just so obvious to me. I wouldn't even think to argue that or debate it. Outside of, like, a platonic friend is calling you, or outside of, like, I need to wake up tomorrow at 5 a.m. for such a thing, can I get my mom or dad to call me? Outside of that, right? If you have a person that you have a crush on, that you've been flirting with, that you've been making like passes at, who is like having you call them in the morning to wake up, that to me is like, actually, for me personally, and again, a lot of inferences, sorry, that's enough for me to know that, like, okay, yeah, I could see why you think that. I could see why you like have this idea 100%. I don't need any more information past that point. But I will say that the icing on the cake for that suspicion are the multiple 3, 4, 5, 6 hour phone calls that these guys were having on a daily basis. On a daily basis, these guys were having 4, 5, 6 hour calls. And again, I understand that, like, if I'm padding my resume to like somebody, I can make up a lot of shit about what I do. If I'm talking to Twitch chat, I can make up a lot of shit about what I do. But if another streamer is talking to me, I know what we do. I know how our jobs work. And I know that you don't need to be on a call 4 hours every day setting up a panel. That's just not how any of this works. Nobody does that. And even the people that were dragged on to that were already on Team Dylan knew that was bullshit. If you're talking to somebody for 4, 5, 6 hours a day, these are probably very like casual, intimate conversations. Or yeah, I'm not saying intimate like you're sexting or whatever, but like these are like very, very, very friendly or more than friendly conversations. Again, also, when I'm looking at things, so so when we get out of like when we get at so these kinds of personal situations are hard, because when we leave like the world of philosophy and politics and like all that shit, we kind of have to I think that you kind of have to use like different approaches when you're kind of like analyzing a situation to figure out what's going on. Now, all of this is intuitive and we all know this, but it doesn't feel good. And when we're like debating professionally, we wouldn't do this. But when I'm trying to figure out what's happening in a situation, somebody's character is really, really, really important to me. There are people that I know that if they tell me something, I'll just believe it. Whatever the fuck you say. Melina is somebody that I know that, like, Melina's never going to lie to me. She just doesn't. It's just not in her character. So Melina tells me something, it's almost as good as direct evidence for me. Like, okay, if you say it, I believe it. I don't think you're going to lie about anything. Unless she, like, is hallucinating or some shit, you know? When I'm asking questions about certain things and somebody's giving me a dodgy answer, I don't really care about the dodgy answer you're giving me. What I'm more concerned with is, why do you feel the need to give a dodgy answer? So the problem that I have with Katarana's story is that there's a lot of ways that she answers questions that just I feel like I'm listening to Nathan give me answers. I know that you're lying. Why are you doing this? Like, and the reason why you're lying is probably because you're trying to sell a story that you know isn't true. The two biggest examples of this to me were, number one, you don't need somebody to call you to wake you up. Some of these things get like a little bit personal for me because I have firsthand experience. Not personal like I'm crying, but like, so I worked a night shift. I worked 60 hours a week and tried to do school full time. So I know what it's like to have to wake up and how shitty that can be. And I have never, and I've talked to other people that work night shift. Now, maybe way out there, maybe there are people that have like, people give them phone calls to wake them up. But when I work night shift, the tip that I was always told, that always worked for me, was put your phone right outside your bedroom door. That's what you do. You throw your phone in the living room, or you slide it right outside your bedroom door, so that when your alarm goes off, you have to actually like wake up, get out of bed, and go turn your fucking phone off. If I had to wake up for something important, I would rely on that a million times more than somebody calling me and then me just like hanging the phone up. Yeah, so I don't, there was that. There was the reaching about how like alarms don't go off forever. They do. we all have cell phones. I'm pretty sure. Now I'll be honest with you. It might not be forever, but I know that the iPhone alarm goes off for at least like 5 fucking minutes, or 5 or 10 fucking minutes. I don't know about the Android one. It's probably the same. But like, just think for 1 second, right? Oh, Dylan also saying his alarm broke. What do you mean your alarm broke? No. What are you your app broke on your phone? Your alarm, like your alarm clock? Like what are we even saying here? Like how does that even make sense? Again, the reaching for lies, that damaging of your credibility when you're lying about something insignificant means I'm probably not going to believe you when you're trying to sell me a more significant like fact later down the line. But anyway, yeah, I'm just saying that this is like I'm trying to explain my thought process through this conversation. You don't need somebody to call you to wake you up. It can be nice. It can be helpful. If you're asking somebody to call you to wake you up, it's because you want that connection of like, oh, like first thing in the morning, like I want to hear your voice. I want to talk to you, right? That's why you're doing it. Hold on. Fuck. Okay. Let's see. There was that lie. Fuck. I just lost my train of thought. Katarana told it was two really big ones. One was about the alarm clock stuff. And the second one, who knows it in chat? Fuck, I had to ban some dipshit in chat. Oh, and then the other one was, hold on. The other one had to do with the, I had to take an oral anesthetic to get out of a phone call. If you were in a call with somebody and you desperately needed to get off the call, why would you fake taking a drug when you could just pretend fake take a drug? What? Like, I could just come and be like, my mouth is getting dry because I have an anesthetic. Sorry, good night. Like, why would you actually take a drug when you could just fake take a drug? Like, it's like such a bizarrely weird thing. Yeah, I don't know. It's such a bizarrely weird thing to say that, yeah. So those two things from Katarana's angle, in my eyes, kind of destroyed a lot of her credibility. Because if you're gonna tell lies, I'm fully convinced these are lies. I'm sorry, but when you're gonna tell lies around like these particular things, then it really makes me wonder why you need to lie about them, and then it makes me wonder what other parts of your story are maybe not as credible. Moving past that point, okay. I have so many people that have DM'd me so much stuff. I'm trying to skirt the line of like, where do we even go next? I don't even know where to go after that. Katarina's reputation is a little bit bad. I think that Dylan covering for her was a little bit bad. Man, what do we want to go with, the general and the specific thing? People's sexualities and their orientations are like are unassailable. You can't really say anything without it being like really bad or without it being fucked. All I'll say is that through watching their interactions, it was pretty obvious to me, I think, that they've been dating for a while. So I actually didn't know that. That was just a total stab in the dark based on my intuition. But I think Dylan thought that for some reason I did know that because of other stuff floating around in the background, and then he ended up kind of like admitting to that too. But when I asked him the question initially, I wasn't as aggressive with it. So the initial question was like, wait, hold on, you guys don't have a romantic relationship. Instead of like flat out answering that as a no or a yes, he gave the really weird answer of like, well, maybe in the future. The fact that they would kind of hide that relationship makes me think that they know that it probably looks bad that Dylan is coming out in front here and accusing what could be a scorned ex of Katarina of like being sexually improper, right? Like it kind of like taints everything in terms of how the allegations are going. Yeah. Fuck. A lot of the conversation wasn't really about what actually happened. It was really just more like kind of credibility building or credibility destroying, unfortunately, because I'm just trying to figure out like how much of like what you're saying can I trust, because unfortunately a lot of the accusations apparently exist only in voice calls and we don't have like any DMs or whatever. Trying to think of what else. Was there any other part of this? Hasn't Dylan said that he's bi but mostly gay? I don't know. I don't make any claims to know that. I don't care. I want to be very clear that I'm separating all of this from Dylan, and I'm not making any claims about Dylan and whatever. A long time ago, it was very trendy for girls to be like bisexual. I feel like I'm seeing the same thing with guys now. I don't know if that applies to Dylan. I don't know. I'm not making any claims there. I've noticed that like people like Vaush, like everybody seems to be like a bisexual guy now. Whatever. I don't know. I don't care. But like I just kind of like try to look at things and see like, well, what do I feel is going on, and you know what's happening with everything. And it kind of seemed to me like Dylan and the Katarina, you know, he might be bi, or maybe he is 95% gay, like he said. People in some subs are accusing you of outing Dylan. Well, the big problem that I was having, the reason why I felt the need to push it, is because Dylan was getting a lot of credibility from his sexual orientation, which hurts Prime a lot, and they're the ones making the accusation. Because with Dylan, there can't possibly be any conflict of interest here because he's gay, right? Like, what? It's not like he's not like in a relationship with her or anything, right? Like, why would he's not going to say anything, right? Well, but like, well, what if he's not? What if he's not only not gay? What if they are dating? Well, now it makes things look a lot different, and I think that it's fair. I think that it's fair to look at this as, okay, well, now the conflict of interest is way more interesting, because not only are you dating this person, you're also covering their rent. And they work for you. Now you're kind of the last person in the world that I really want to hear about your opinion about this, because you are obviously so incredibly compromised in terms of being able to give like an unbiased answer to any of this. I'm going to need to see some logs at this point. Like, sorry. Yeah. But that was kind of like my approach to that, unfortunately. What is Dylan's and Prime's relationship? I've heard so much in the back channels. The gist of it is that there's always like all this fighting between people in the background, and that people are always trying to, I'll say in general words, people are always trying to pull people off of other people's shows. Like, oh, don't go on that show, that guy's evil. Don't go on that show, he's a clout monger. Don't go on that show. And this is just stuff that goes around in the background of all of these shows. I can say firsthand that I know for a fact that Dylan has engaged in this behavior in the past of pulling people off of other people's shows or threatening not to let them on his shows if they go on other shows. I know for a fact that Samantha has engaged in that behavior. I don't know if PrimeCayes has. He might have. Let me be really clear. I'm not here to defend Prime's character. I don't know. It's possible that he's done that. If he has, though, I've just never heard of it. But it's totally possible that he has. If anybody, I know that all you guys are watching, if anybody wants to like send me a message like, oh, Prime said that I couldn't go on anymore if I did this. If Prime did that, then feel free to shoot me a message and let me know. You know, it's possible that he does do that, but I haven't seen that if it is the thing. Yeah. Is it possible that Kat is just autistic? Weird stuff like taking the medication to get out of a conversation. Okay, so this is kind of the problem that I have when I'm dancing around this topic of her mental competency, okay? When you argue with vegans about whether or not it's moral or immoral to kill an animal for recreation, like the consumption of their bodies, right? One of the argument patterns that a vegan will try to get you into is something called name the trait. And the problem with the name the trait argument is that what the vegan is trying to get you to do is he's trying to get you to give a trait that makes it okay for animals to be eaten and not okay for people to be eaten. But the problem is that there is no single trait that every single animal will fail to have, that every single human will succeed in having. So the name the trait argument seeks to defeat the carnivore argument by saying, well, whatever qualifications you're going to say that should save all humans, some animals necessarily are going to be, encapsulated by that qualifier. Are they intelligent? Do they form like social structures? Can they, communicate with each other? Right? Some bar of animals are going to fit this. Or if you set the bar so high, like they can do math, they're complicated algorithms, whatever. There's going to be some humans that fail at this, right? This is like the name the trait argument. When I look at Katarina, if she is so unbelievably mentally compromised that she can't ward off a guy's horny advances in Discord, she has to fake taking drugs in her mouth in order to get off a call with him, that she feels helpless and isolated and trapped for months and months and months by a guy in Discord, if all of these things are true, which they could be, actually take drugs. If all of these things are true, which they could be, I don't see how you could ever, morally accept somebody being in a relationship with them where the power dynamics are amped up like 1,000,000 times more. Where now, because if Katarina was compromised before because this guy was her boss, we'll get to that. Well, now she's living with a guy that's covering her rent and she works for him and they're in a relationship. Now we've amped up the power dynamics 50 times more. Dylan has a bigger platform, so the power dynamic is more exaggerated there. He's providing more financial coverage, so there's an even bigger power dynamic there. I don't know how that argument ever works. She's going to start paying next month, though. So, again, the reason why I ask questions is because, trying to figure out if somebody's lying to you is you ask a lot of questions and then we put the blocks on the table so that we can try to figure out okay, well, where are the contradictions, right? Really all these conversations is I'm going to ask you 50 questions, we're going to put 50 answers on the table, and we're going to see if any of these contradict, right? And when you run into contradictions, now you can start to see that okay, well, I think your story is falling apart. So again, with that, so Dylan said, for instance, that she is going to begin paying rent next month. If she has the capability of paying rent next month, then why was $250 a month in payments from Prime enough to keep her locked in to a sexually abusive relationship with him? Both of these things can't be true, right? There are a lot of inconsistencies in terms of how much money do you have available, how easy is it to take advantage of you versus what are your current financial means, right? Another problem is that when we get into the payment part, right? When we get into the payment part, the logs that Katarina posted of him saying like, "Oh, you know, you're beautiful, you're gorgeous, I want to kiss you, die, blah blah blah," those logs happened back in April. If those logs happened back in April, when did Prime actually start paying her as an employee? That didn't happen until like July, August. So that means that if there was an improper employer-employee relationship, one, we haven't even seen logs of that happening during their working time. Two, he could have actually stopped it before they ever even entered that, you know, payment-employee relationship, employer-employee relationship. And three, she only ever got 2 payments from him, $250. Like, really? Yeah, like when you kind of look more into it, like just nothing really lines up in any of this. And that's without kind of digging into the other things that I've heard her say on past panels. If I get this wrong, if I'm racist and I mix her up with another black girl or something, you call me out. Maybe I'm wrong, but I could have sworn that I heard her talk about how she was like either working in a pharmacy or she's like working jobs or whatever, or she's like in training to be a pharmacist. I thought that she was already working like other stuff, and I've heard her talk about this on panels in the past. Does anybody remember this? She has some science job, right? I feel like I remember being on a panel where she was literally saying this. And if you're so desperate for money, why are you working 6 hours a night for $250 a month? Yeah, I don't know, but it sucks to go down this route because because really all I can do is kind of like build or tear down character to figure out if I think the allegations are credible or not. But yeah, wow. I don't think that. Yeah, I don't think it's a good look. Do you think we were ultra charitable to the Dylan Cat side? If Samantha told them she specifically told Prime to stop and he never did stop and they believed her, it crosses the threshold into harassment for them, so they jumped the gun to your word. It is possible that you could blame everything on Samantha, but there's still no reason why Katarina wouldn't have just talked to Prime and said, "Hey, stop." Genuine question, do you think Prime did anything wrong? Yeah, I think he probably could have read signals better. He fucked up that, I guess. But, yeah. But I mean, like, I think that's a far cry from sexual harassment. What do you think of people downplaying the outcome of what would have happened with Prime if you never defended him? Well, I want to be super clear. Like, there are other people in the background that are defending Prime. I've also heard people say that they're scared to come forward and defend Prime because they know that, like, the sexual harassment shit is, like, super serious. It's possible that Prime would have been okay if I wouldn't have said anything. It's possible he'll still get fucked. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. But, like, trying to downplay what could have happened to him, in my opinion, is really, really, really dumb. Like, sexual harassment allegations are a really, really, really big deal. Sorry, not really, really, really big deal. Are an incredibly big deal. Somebody might, somebody gets triggered that I do this. Sorry if you talked about this. What about Maddie? The Maddie woman has hated me for months. I don't know why. I think just because I'm not far left enough for her position. She got really ass mad when she misquoted and mistweeted and lied about homeless people being more at risk for crime or whatever, and she was like lying on Twitter, probably because she's never interacted with homeless people before, which is pretty common of white suburban people. But yeah, she's been like on a huge hate boner train for me for a while. For some reason, if somebody has the clip, I guess we can. I don't know why. I don't know why people do this. I know why people. I don't know why I'm saying that rhetorically.
I see that. No, but like I think that's like whenever I see Destiny get so amped about this particular situation, right, where he's like, whenever anyone mentioned something like grooming or power dynamics, that sets him off, and to me, that is the biggest fucking red flag that you could have, because I'm like, why is this specifically setting him off? I bet it's because he's trying to reverse engineer his logical way back to absolve himself of any responsibility, because I'm guessing that he's had this sort of thing. I don't know.
I don't know. It's like I said, like I flirt with a lot of people, and like I'm a massive coomer. Like if anybody wants to like come out and, you know, me too me or whatever, like there's plenty of people that could do it. It's really irritating that every time I talk about like anything related to this kind of like sexual harassment shit, I don't know why people are so quick to be like, he's a secret rapist. He's a secret rapist. I keep saying I don't know why. I know why. It's really, it's incredibly irritating that people will try to like get into the fucking, you know, sexual harassment car or carriage or whatever on the fuck Destiny train as they're trying to ride it up the mountain to their, you know, Twitter clout heaven, and they think that the easiest way to get there is to just like throw out random accusations about me. It's really incredibly fucking annoying and frustrating. I really wish people would stop doing that and would fuck off and would, yeah, I don't know. Fuck. She apologized on Twitter for this. I don't care. Why the fuck would I care about your worthless fuck apology? Because you got called out for saying like some incredibly stupid shit. No, fuck you. Like, I'm not even irritated that you said it. I'm irritated that you thought it. The fact that you instantly, you know, run to, oh, he's probably a rapist. Like, okay, bro. Yeah, fuck you. Do you think that Dylan realized he made a mistake? It looks like he was understanding your point of view in real time and realizing that maybe this was the wrong way to handle it. It is possible that, yeah, I want to be really clear. I don't think that Dylan was I don't think that Dylan is like ultra vindictive or like a manipulative schemer. I don't think Dylan saw an opportunity like 3 months ago to be like, okay, we're going to set up this huge plan to fuck over Prime. I don't think that happened. Like the two people that I would put more responsible for this, I think would be, it's a tie between Samantha and Katarina. I'm not sure. Dylan later admitted he could have handled it better by doing it privately and through DMs. I'm going to back up again to the take that everybody hates when I give it, and I'm going to give it again, and I'm always going to give it over and over and over and over again. I don't care about apologies. I think that they're worthless and meaningless. I just don't care. I don't really care if you recognize you did something wrong. Like, good for you. Congratulations. This was something that you were planning to do for a month. You had plenty of time to sit and think about it. If you reverse course in 6 hours after the slightest amount of pushback, like, your apology means nothing. Like, because the problem is that, like, it's great that you apologize now, but let's say hypothetically, and I don't want to like play up my role in this, because like I said, it's possible that there are other people talking behind the scenes about this a lot. There's other stuff going on. It's totally possible that things could have turned out a certain way, regardless if I said anything. But let's say hypothetically, let's say that I didn't come forward and say anything, and other people were a little bit too afraid to kind of step out in front of this because they didn't want to get ran over. You know, it might be that your mistake cost somebody their entire online existence, you know, and maybe they kill themselves over it, right? Like, is that potential negative consequence worth like an I'm sorry? Like, to take it a step further, I would take somebody's apology more seriously if they drunk drove and, you know, they got into an accident and they killed a family. I would take their apology more seriously, because like when people drunk drive, they're not usually thinking like, I'm going to go fucking kill somebody tonight. Usually they're overconfident in their abilities. They're downplaying their intoxication. They're overestimating, you know, how easy it'll be to get home, like, or underestimating, I guess. Like, I can understand making that mistake. It's not acceptable. You shouldn't do it. It's horrible. But, you know, yeah, it's a mistake. But like actually sitting out and planning out like an expose stream, writing a twit longer, gathering all the evidence and doing all this, like, nah. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not gonna. There's no apology for that. Like, damn. Do you think people do dumb stuff like this purposely crop logs when it's easy for the other person to disprove? I don't know why Katarina cropped her logs too. I think it was stupid. It also hurts her credibility, especially when Prime would just post the other logs. But yeah, I don't know. What was the secret lore behind bringing Hans in? Hans is somebody that I liked, but I'm also aware that Hans and Katarina have had a sexual relationship like over a month ago, and I was just curious if he would come out and say that or if he'd try to obscure that. But he owned up to it. Well, I'm sorry, I don't even want to say he owned up to it. He was very forthcoming with that, like almost immediately. So, yeah, good for him. Give us the honesty tier list of people in this drama. In terms of people who like I generally trust, I'm very hesitant. I don't know if I would actually ever reveal that. I can't say that, sorry, because I don't want people who I don't trust to know that I don't trust them, because it's more interesting to see like what they say in the future. So I can't really say anything, sorry. Yeah. Ask me in a year or two, I guess. Hasn't Hans talked about being gay as well? Did he? I've never heard that. The Marcy person is mentally ill. Don't link her shit. Destiny question. If someone's getting sexual advances from a boss and they continue the work relationship without turning them down or to continue to work, is the worker manipulating the boss then? I don't know. You have to look into it. It's pretty complicated. That could go either way. Generally, it's bad of the boss to proposition an employee. That's almost always the case. It's going to be bad. But in terms of like how it actually plays out, like, I don't know. The problem is that Prime was hitting on Katarina by her own admission from the moment they started interacting. And Katarina, by her own admission, said it would be profitable and beneficial for her career to essentially play along. So, like, that, and that's in her own words. So, yeah, I don't know. That's a rough one. I don't know, like, how I can believe much on her end from that, you know? I'm also curious if logs exist of him being inappropriate with her in July or August when she was actually working for him and not just earlier before they even had a working relationship. Why did she accuse him? What is she getting out of it? When you ask me a question like that, I can only hardcore speculate. Yeah, I don't really know. Sorry. I can make guesses about it based on like people's like normal behavior, but I really don't know them well enough to know 100%. Do you think Prime was too apologetic in his response to him? I didn't even watch it. I was sleeping. I don't know. Any comment on WickedSupreme / Rems convo? Nope. Would you be down to talk to WickedSupreme? Yeah, I guess. If anybody wants to hop on and chat, I can do it now. We can't like review streams or watch anything. I don't think my internet will handle it. I'm on my like I'm streaming to YouTube and Twitch on my cell phone's internet right now, so. Are you going to do a deeper dive into the allegations? Nah, not really. Just based on what's presented so far, like, I feel really confident with, like, my intuition on it. And everything that's come out just kind of seems to, like, further solidify it. How do you get internet when you travel? Right now I'm using my Google Fi thing. All right. I think Dooby's stepping up first. Uh-oh. You said we should ask you about this in a year or two. You said the same about the Gudgel stuff. Is there anything? The main fucked stuff about the Gudgel stuff was that people were calling him, old friends that he had that worked in, like, the really high up, like, teachers associations were saying they were going to get his teaching license pulled if he didn't, like, cut ties with me. That was insane. But it was mainly about that kind of stuff. What's up, buddy?
Hey. So yeah, I've been avoided coming out, like, publicly, just because it's a little bit risky, right? Not really for me, but other streamers that I'm friendly with. Like, they might be punished for shit that I say or whatever. Chad, if you're unaware, it's Dooby. For the 10 of you that know who the fuck I am. So I've been aware of this situation since, like, April. Where the first time it came up that Katarana had posted in No Comment Chicks chat that someone was sexually harassing her in the Twitch community. That day I became aware of it because I'm in a friend group where this was talked about. But Samantha was told. We spoke to Samantha. She told us that she was going to talk to Prime about it, figure out what the fuck was going on, tell him to stop, and then he was going to talk to you, Katarana. Later on that night, we spoke to Samantha about it again. She says she told Prime what was going on, that he was making Katarana uncomfortable, because she had already spoken to Katarana at that point and found out that it was Prime she was talking about. And Prime said he was going to talk to Katarana and clear things up. And for about a week after that initial conversation, we were checking, like, hey, has Prem spoken to Katarana yet? And she would say no. It's like, oh, why the fuck not? This is really important. Why isn't he talking to her? And the next day, we'd ask again, hey, has he spoken to Katarana yet? She'd say no. Eventually, she started saying that he wasn't taking it seriously. He didn't really care, yada, yada. So that seemed really fucking weird to me. I was like, why the... I know Prime is like, I don't want to say the A word. He's a little socially awkward, but I don't think he's that socially awkward that he wouldn't see this as, like, a massive fucking problem that he needs to get ahead of, like, immediately.
Also, just something I want to add here, because I've heard this angle as well. If Prime knew that he was being accused of stuff like this, and if we're to believe that he's, like, a really fucked up guy, he would start taking steps probably now, or, like, at that point, to either protect himself or retaliate. He wouldn't just carry on like nothing is happening. That doesn't really make any sense. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So eventually, Samantha just says, hey, he's not taking it seriously. So we're like, oh, that's really fucking weird. Okay, if this is going to tank his fucking channel if he's sexually harassing her and she comes out. And eventually, the next time I heard anything relevant to this was Katarana DMing me and asking me if I wanted to go on one of Prime's panels. So I figured at that point, they're apparently still in contact. She's now helping him set up panels. So they must have talked about it and cleared shit up. And I just assumed it had been dealt with, right? And that was, like, back in, like, so this started, like, at the end of April. So that must have been the next month. That must have been, like, a couple weeks later. And that was the last I heard about it until, like, 2 days ago, middle of the night. I was on Prim's stream actually on his open panel, and he DMs me saying that he has like a massive fucking problem. Right? I'm like, what's up? And he says, that someone's accusing him of like sexually harassing them, and then he tells me that. So I said, oh, it's Katarana, and he's like, what? How the fuck do you know? Right? Well, I said, oh, well, I thought you were aware of this. Like, she said this like in April. Like, I was under the impression that you knew about this, right? And he seemed genuinely confused. Seemed genuinely like he had no idea what the fuck was going on. So he asked me if I can talk to him. We get into that voice call with Samantha. That Samantha was referencing on Dylan's stream. And he seems totally fucking flabbergasted. Has no idea why she's saying this. It seemed like from his perspective, this came totally out of nowhere, which I thought was really fucking weird because Samantha had told me that she had told Prime directly that Katarana said this in April, right? So, and I remember Prime literally saying to Samantha that he didn't know about this. And Samantha didn't fucking correct him. So later on, right after having this big conversation. Oh, and to be clear, one thing that was said on Dylan's thing that really pissed me off was that Prime planned to use Katarana's NPD against her, right? Because Katarana has said on streams that she has NPD, which is like narcissistic personality disorder, or some shit like that. Prime never said that. That came from somebody else. And Prime's reaction to that was, I don't know anything about that. He just dismissed it, didn't want to talk about that. Right. But that wasn't brought up to like attack her. That was saying, oh, she might be lying because, she has this thing. Right. So we need to be aware of that. And he just says something like, oh, I wish I would have known that. And he dismissed it. So he did not plan anywhere in that conversation to use that to attack her credibility. That is not anything anybody said. So when Samantha went on Dylan's stream and said that Prime said that was just a lie. Prime actually streamed his DMs for us that night. He offered to screen share his DMs with any female because Samantha at some point said that 12 women had come forward and told her that Prime had been inappropriate with them.
Yeah, so to be clear, I've heard this floating through the ethers. I haven't seen this materialized in like a clip or anything, but has anybody else actually come forward and accused Prime, like publicly? Is that anywhere listed or?
Not that I'm aware of, no. And we actually asked Samantha, okay, well, if there's 12 women, like, why didn't you fucking say anything? That's a really big fucking. If he's actually sexually harassing 12 fucking people in this space, like, that's a big problem. Why are you not saying anything? Right? Like, why are they not saying anything? And Samantha was saying, oh, well, I asked them for evidence and they couldn't give me any. These 12 people.
Can I speak to that for a second?
Yeah.
I just get a lot of random stuff. I'm going to read something, okay? So Samantha Banana knew that the girl was being harassed months ago. She sat in a call talking about it, and we asked her, why does she still do panels for Prime if she thinks he might be a predator? And she responded with, I'm a capitalist. We pointed out all the other producers had quit, for example, Spectre. Spectre's also messaged me things, by the way, and that she was a millionaire and didn't need the money. She then said that she would keep working for him until he pays her. She kept organizing panels with him until Dylan asked her to do panels, and it was only then that she stopped working with Prime. She was perfectly happy for whatever happened to go on as long as she was getting paid, basically, and she only stopped because something better, Dylan, came along. Does that timeline line up pretty well?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, go ahead.
So she's saying 12 women. So Prime starts asking, like he's again totally fucking flabbergasted. He says he doesn't talk to that many women. Right? He doesn't talk to people in a personal way. So he was like really confused as to why 12 women would be saying that he like sexually harassed them.
True. Also, I wanted to add on to the end of that. It's also been told to me. Oh, also, she was gloating last month that if Prime ever fucked with her, she could cancel him because she knew about this specific situation. But okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So So yeah, so Prime is really confused. He starts asking Samantha to just give him a hint as to who it is or who she thinks it is, so that he can show the DMs and he'll show us all of their interactions, so we can see that he didn't do anything wrong. Because he was like almost in tears, like he was really broken up about this. And Samantha just refused to say anything. She said, "Oh, it's my right. I'm going to protect the victims. I'm not going to say anything."
Of course.
Which yeah. So we asked her, like, have they given out any evidence? Have you seen screenshots of anything? Because that was the first time I'd heard about 12 women too, right? And she said, no, that she'd asked them and none of them had provided anything. So these 12 women that Prime sexually harassing over his months or year on Twitch, whatever the fuck it is, has zero evidence of this. Really fucking weird. So from there, I started saying, okay, so seems like I told him to reach out to you. I told him that he should probably talk to Dylan to see if Dylan had heard anything about it, because at that point we knew that Dylan and Kat were living together. He reached out to Dylan like a bit later after we ended that call, and he said he made that DM group, the War Room, that everybody's so obsessed about. And he said, Dylan, I just asked Dylan, he called me a sex pest and blocked me. So that's when he made the War Room, and he said, "Oh, I might have to go to war with Dylan," because at this point, he was feeling, I think justifiably, that these people were coming after his career because this is how he makes his money, right? So he felt like he was under attack, and the Catarana thing had totally come out of nowhere. So he makes this thing called the War Room, which is a little bit cringy, but whatever the fuck. And in there, this is being presented as like a chat where he conspired to like smear Catarana, to destroy her reputation, all this shit. But I can send you screenshots of that entire chat. There is nothing like that in there, right? It's literally me telling Prime, hey, you should reach out to you need to talk to Dylan. You should reach out to Destiny to have a mediate because Dylan trusts Destiny. And I think Destiny would be fair if you showed him all your screenshots, showed him everything, and we're like transparent with both of them.
Yeah,
I think then
on this for this War Room stuff, I just want to be clear. This was the message that I got from PrimeCayes. I'm just reading this word for word. Hey, Steven. Well, I'm embroiled in another drama. My producer, Catarana, is accusing me of harassment and abuse. This is absolutely fucking false. I don't know why she's doing this, but I can't have this destroying my channel. I have extensive DMs with this woman. If you'd like to take a look, I'll show you everything. The reason I'm reaching out to you is because of Dylan Burns. Dylan and Kat have grown close recently. Apparently, she's staying at his house, and they become best friends. I don't know who to trust, but I'm trying to operate off the assumption that Dylan is good faith. In that case, Catarana has apparently been feeding him lies. I reached out to him. He called me a sex pest, then blocked me on Discord. If Dylan can be reached, I'd like to set up a discussion so that we can hash this out. I'd show him my DMs as well. I was wondering if you could be a neutral third party to get together with us and get to the bottom of this. I believe you're on vacation, so if you can't, I understand. Thanks for listening. That was the message that Prime sent me, and that was like, I think that was like 12 hours before everything like blew up, basically. He sent me that, and then like I think like 10 hours later, Dylan went live, basically.
Yeah. So yeah, in that well, I just want to finish up the War Room thing because I think it's being totally misrepresented by Samantha, and also a bit by Dylan, to be honest with you, because I know Dylan has seen the entire thing. So what I'd said was, I don't like Dylan, but he seems like a good dude, and I don't think he'd want to be involved in outright slander. Right. So,
which, to be clear, also, I would agree with that. I think that Dylan has been like a little business minded in the background, but I don't think he would ever do this. I don't think that Dylan would like, I'm going to make up an allegation or go with a made up allegation or fuck somebody. I don't have that impression of Dylan. I don't think he would ever do that. But go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, I don't like Dylan. He and I have our problems, but he doesn't seem like that kind of person. So I told him he needed to reach out to you. He agreed. Samantha immediately was just like memeing in the chat and saying that he should bring on Lauren Southern. Eventually saying that she's extremely uncomfortable with him asking to release the names of people that have stated that they're victims or whatever. So then we have a little conversation like, how is he supposed to apologize or show you that or show people that nothing happened if he doesn't know like who's complaining? And we just had like a little back and forth. And eventually ends with Prem just saying, hey, yeah, I put you in a situation you don't want to be in. I'm sorry for adding you to this. If you can still talk to Kat for me, I'd be appreciative. If not, that's okay. I'll figure this out. If this discussion makes you uncomfortable, please exit the group. Yeah. Right. And that was, and then Samantha says, okay, but Dylan and I are dating now. Like after that, like there's no let's smear Catarana plotting in there at all. I'll show anybody who wants to see the entire group DM. There's none of that. So that's been totally misrepresented by Samantha. So later, so I still tell Prime, hey, you should reach out to Destiny, be totally transparent, show him everything, be ready to show everybody who wants to see anything at all of your fucking DMs, because they're gonna get out there anyway. And he agreed to do that. So the next morning, is when the next day is when they do this fucking stream. Prime actually wasn't watching the stream. He was preparing his his screenshots or whatever.
Yeah.
And I eventually joined a call with him to ask him if he was in the stream that night and just talk to him about it, see how he was doing, because the night before he was very fucking distraught because it seemed like this totally came out of nowhere for him.
Yeah.
And so he shows me the first conversation that he had with Samantha, where Samantha brought up what Katarana was saying in NCC's chat, and that conversation is nothing like what Samantha said it was on Dylan's show yesterday. It's nothing like what she told me it was in April, right? So she just totally misrepresented the conversation.
To be clear, we went over those tweets. Like, she never in those messages, or I'm sorry, those messages, not tweets. In those messages, she never made it clear that that Prime was the one being accused of acting inappropriately. There was no indication given there.
Yeah. Yeah, and in addition, she says that after I don't know why she lied about this, but it's like, I think if she's going to lie about the small things, she's probably going to lie about the big things. Because she says on Dylan's stream, and I clipped this, and I think I sent it to you, that that Prime brought it up. That Prime brought up what Katarana was saying in NCC's chat, as if he's spying on her or some shit.
Yeah.
But actually, if you see the DMs, it's Samantha brought it up. So she's just being totally dishonest in this entire situation.
Yeah.
Now, I asked her, okay, well, she says that she spoke to you again after this, right? She says she had a second conversation with you. Is there any evidence of that in your DMs anywhere? And it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So the first conversation they had that I was made aware of, and Dylan knows about, looks nothing like what we're being told it was. And the second conversation, there's zero evidence of it.
Yeah.
So my perspective now, after looking over everything, is that I think there are outlying issues. I think that maybe Katarana was being a little clout chasing, right? I think that Dylan
that accusation is impossible to drop, and it sounds really bad, but I mean, she's involved with every show host. What the fuck? But okay, go ahead.
No, but it's not even that. I think I think if you just look at her tweet longer, she said something like she was balancing.
No, yeah, I know. She explicitly says that there's a benefit to my career, and it's well, Jesus Christ, this looks really bad. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think even that is when the context of her thinking that Prime has been told to stop speaking to her sexually twice, right? So she thought at this point that he's been told to stop twice and he hasn't stopped. So of course, I think understandably she's going to think he's a fucking creep. Dylan is being told by Samantha, hey, I told him to stop twice directly and he didn't stop. So of course Dylan's going to think he's a fucking creep. Prime thinks he's building a close friendship with this person that he's been openly sexual or romantic toward, whether or not it's reciprocated. She says herself she's never told him to stop, right? Or that it makes her uncomfortable. So I think with this framework, everybody's acting reasonably with the information they have, and the only problem is that they're acting reasonably
based off of bad information from Samantha. Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
I would still say that even if that was the case, I would put the onus on Katarana to at least reach out to Prime one time about this. It just seems weird that they do all of this through proxy. What the fuck? But yeah.
Yeah,
Samantha claimed earlier on Twitter that to be 100% honest, we handled a lot of things in private voice chat on the server, and I told Kat that I have no proof of anything, and she still wanted to go forward, and I promised I would go with her when the time came. Now, this contradicts what Dylan said when Dylan was on stream saying, well, Samantha has proof. Hold on, I'll go ask her. So I don't know who we believe there, but yeah, everything is a pretty big shit show.
I think the proof that we do have, right, is that Samantha misrepresented the first conversation she had with Prime about this. To Dylan and Katarana yesterday on the stream, to me in April, right? So the bit that we do have is Samantha lied. She didn't that conversation didn't go how she said she did. How she said it did. So that's where I am right now. I think that there are some allies. I think Prime is a bit socially awkward, didn't catch cues that might have been there. Dylan flew off the handle to seem like the big man to his girlfriend. Katarana might have been keeping Prime close for her like career or whatever. But I think all this was happening within the context of Katarana thinking that he wasn't going to talk to her sexually because he'd been told to stop twice.
Sure.
So
Although also to be clear, by the time they'd started working, I don't know if we've seen any evidence of him saying anything inappropriate when they had a working relationship.
Yeah, I actually went over that with Prime yesterday.
Yeah.
I asked him like, because all the screenshots we were seeing were from like April and March and shit.
Yep.
And like I think there was like one in May where he calls it like beautiful or some shit.
Okay.
But what he told me is that that after like late April, like early May, they just stopped hanging out. They were hanging out like every day, for like hours, and then suddenly she just wasn't available anymore. She started pulling away. And actually, in the DM that he showed on the stream yesterday was Silly Serious or Joe. He tells Joe this. It seems like she's pulling away, and he's like letting go of it. Right, and that was, I think that DM is like at the end of April too.
Okay, yeah.
So, I asked him, okay, can you like search, like show me your DMs, and is there like any flirty shit after she starts pulling away? And I didn't see any. Yeah, there's DMs where he's asking if he can talk to her, if they can hang out, saying, hey, we haven't hung out in a long time. Seems like we're always missing each other. And I miss hanging out, shit like that. But there's no like, you know, you're gorgeous, suck my dick, and shit like
anything,
yeah. And he didn't start paying her until like the end of June.
I heard that. Yeah.
And so, like, I don't know, the idea that he was like holding the payment over her for months while he was like sexually harassing her.
Also, when the payment was only $250 each month, that's hard to believe. Yeah.
And the second payment was like the 2nd of August. So she got 2 payments of $250 starting at the end of June and early August. But all the stuff happened before, like that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So that's where I am. Like, I don't know. If you want to see any screenshots of anything, like I said, I could show you the whole war room or whatever the fuck. Like,
no, I mean, I think
like, I've been avoiding,
seen
you know,
so much shit. I don't think I need to see anything else at this point, but yeah.
Yeah.
Go. Yeah. All right. Well, anything else, Dubes?
That was it. Well, I just wanted to say, like, I already thanked you in like DMs, but I feel like someone needs to thank you publicly. It probably seems really cringe or whatever. But I was really worried when this initially came out that it was going to be like the train. Everybody's latching on because they want to be allies and yada yada, right? So they're going to say, oh, they're going to believe Potter on it, not even listen to Prime, not even give his side any credence or whatever, and you know his career is over. So I really appreciate you, like, giving him a fair shake, you know?
Yeah, no problem.
That was it. So have a good stream. See you later.
See you later, Dubes. We've got the V Squad coming in hot. What does he have to say about all this?
Destiny came on. And I'll get this out of the way now. Destiny came on. And I'll get this out of the way now because I know everyone wants my opinion. Destiny and Dylan argued for about 3 hours, and there was basically nothing.
He still watches all of my shit. I like it so much.
Distinguishing Destiny's behavior from that of a common victim blamer. His arguments were bad, if eloquently delivered. He came in to discredit and attack Kat. He did so with all the standard tropes. You know, she strung him along by not being forthcoming about his harassment. She's clout shark.
I just like I've kind of talked about this a little bit before. Oh man, dude. Like, I have firsthand experience with being in these like very fucked up situations, and I've talked to other people that I know have been in these very fucked up situations, and it makes me so incredibly angry when like these virtue signaling white fake fucking pieces of shit will come online and throw around all these terms that literally mean nothing to them except to win internet arguments. It really bothers me. Like, if you were to get this clip of what Vaush is talking about, like, you would be thinking like, oh my god, he's talking about some woman that was like brutally fucking raped or was like date raped or whatever, like she got drugged. Not like somebody that had some inappropriate comments made to them with a guy that she admits she was using for like e-clout on a Discord call. Like, pump the brakes, Chief. Shut the fuck up. What the fuck is wrong with you, dude? Like, have some perspective. Oh my god.
You know, she actually liked him, so he got mixed signals. Yeah, he actually said it was woman tactics at one point. At one point, he actually said, if you're a victim of workplace sexual harassment, you have power over your boss. Like if your boss harasses you and you're a woman, which that is some content creator skull if I've ever heard it, but
So my understanding, and it might be different from place to place, is that if you go to HR because a boss is fucking around, that guy will get fucking fired. Like, and that was not 20 years ago. That was like 15. No, that was like 10 years ago, 11 years ago in my life. I can't even imagine what that's like in today's climate. If you've got a boss that's fucking around, like really obviously, and an employee goes to HR and they're like, hey, this guy is fucking around. Do you really think that the whole company is going to put their reputation on the line to fucking defend a creepy fucking manager? Like, what do you mean, dude? Yeah, of course you can go and talk to somebody about this. Like, now, one exception that I could see to this is in really small companies where, like, the HR is, like, the fucking CEO's brother, or, like, the 5 or 10 employee bullshit, the small businesses or whatever. In that case, I could actually maybe... Yeah, hold on. I got to bring my real life experience here because I know that there's a lot of like Reddit comments and I'm seeing them show up on my Twitch chat. HR is totally useless. HR is absolutely not useless. That is absolutely not true. Depending on the type of thing that you're dealing with, going to HR is important for 2 very important reasons, okay? Number 1 is because depending upon the type of misconduct, HR will take the steps they need to remove that misconduct. Now, a lot of people will type shit in chat like, oh no, like, they're only looking out for the company. True, HR does look out for the company. Do you know what looks really bad to companies? It's when they've got like insane fucking sexual harassment managers and shit that exist. Now, in smaller companies, is it possible that like this could be more pervasive if people aren't reporting stuff or whatever? Or if like there's only like, 10 or 20 employees? Potentially, sure. But two. This is the number 2 really huge reason to go to HR. Because let's say that number 1 is wrong. Let's say that HR does actually, like not take the proper steps to do anything. I'm stressing this so much for you, okay? This is going to be important in school. This is going to be important in work. This might be important in your relationships, okay? This is important legally. This is important, like, financially. You absolutely need to make a paper trail. What does a paper trail mean? That means that you need to be able to point back and say, on August 3rd, I had a meeting with this person and I brought this up. You need to be able to point to that. Because if you can't, you are fucked. You will get fucked legally. You will get fucked personally. Nobody will believe you. You'll get fucked occupationally. You might get fucked financially. You absolutely need to have a paper trail created. So this might be as simple as emailing HR and saying, hey, I want to talk to you about an uncomfortable situation, and CCing yourself. Because if it is the case that HR is not taking care of this problem and you want to go a legal route, then what you do is you go to a lawyer and you say, hey, here's this email, and this email. They didn't do shit. Now we're going to war. And you know what? You'll have a really strong case in your hand if you can show that you made a good faith effort to resolve that issue in the company. If you go to a lawyer, I don't know if there's any lawyers in here. I don't know if Esports Batman or Apple is or anybody else in here. If you go to a lawyer, I guarantee you that any lawyer will 1,000,000% back me up on this, and you can go find them and talk to them. If you go to a lawyer and you say, hey, I've got a big problem in my workplace, I'm getting like sexually harassed and no one is doing anything. The very first question that lawyer is going to ask you, before he even writes your fucking name down, that's an exaggeration. The very first question the lawyer will ask you is, have you communicated with anybody about this? And is there a record of that communication? And if it doesn't exist, you are fucked. Because the next piece of advice the lawyer will tell you is, hey, this is your free counseling session. Before you pay me, try to resolve it internally. Unless it's like some actual insane fucked up shit. Unless it's like, somebody's like beating the shit out of you at work or like fucking raping people, right? If you have to start that paper trail. So to refocus and back this up, this notion that's thrown out all the time of like HR is worthless, HR doesn't do anything, HR is bullshit. Always work through HR. You have to start documenting things. If HR is useless and they don't help you, then at the very least you've created a paper trail for an external party to pick up on to start to work your case, okay? Please, 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 please. Don't let the Reddit memes. Also, this is just like a piece of life advice in general. Dude, I can give this for so many different things, okay? On a day-to-day basis, you are interacting with human beings, okay? If you go to any business or whatever, it's not a bunch of sociopathic, like ASPD people that are there trying to like destroy your life and murder you and laugh as you burn it. Like most of these people are human beings. If you make a good faith effort as a person to reach out to resolve things, people will work with you, okay? If you're behind on your mortgage, if you're behind on your credit card payments, if you're behind, like, you have to call and ask for help. There's a stupid fucking saying, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. There is so much help out there sometimes, but people just don't know that it's there, and they're not trying to take advantage of it, okay? I'm bringing this out from a financial standpoint too. If you are falling behind on bills, or there's some shit going on, or if you're in school and you can't turn a test in, you can't make a class because there's some shit going on, even if you think it's stupid, right? Talk to a professor. They don't want you to fail your classes. The bank doesn't want you to foreclose on your house. Like, your company doesn't want employees getting sexually harassed at the workplace. Talk to people, okay? You have to reach out and call people and talk to people, and you can find help out there. It does exist. This online narrative that everybody hates you, everybody's evil, nobody's going to do anything to help, nobody's going to do anything, you're totally on your own. Don't buy into that. Those are Reddit memes. Don't let that dictate how you function in the real world, okay? Christ. Okay. Jesus, get shit done, okay? Yeah, sorry. Anyway, back to this.
Like if your boss harasses you and you're a woman, which that is some content creator skull if I've ever heard it, but no, he said that.
Mr. Beverly Hills.
That's not me misascribing. Yeah. Anyway, it ended with essentially Destiny blaming Kat, saying that Kat was the manipulator.
To be clear on this, Kat said that she was manipulating PrimeCayes. I don't care who has the power dynamic. She explicitly said, we can go read the tweet longer. She said, I hid my feelings because this was good for my career. That's manipulation. I'm sorry. Like, that's what that is. It is manipulation.
He was making conspiratorial arguments that he was doing this in his chat too, that all of this was being orchestrated for like clout sharking and Kat.
To be clear, I don't think that Dylan was planning this really far in advance. I think Katarina just let her fucking dumb shit run wild, and Samantha might have been like setting shit up, but
just wanted to farm attention, and that Dylan was doing this to knock off competitors, and yeah, this is textbook woman manipulation. Yeah, his arguments were like really bad. They were also largely tangential because like 2 hours of the convo were spent on whether or not Kat receiving wake-up phone calls from PrimeCayes was evidence of some kind of mutual romantic interest, which is kind of tangential, right?
I can't deal with these Twitch streamers. I can't deal with you antisocial, like socially challenged fucking neats, guys. I don't know how to communicate with you. I don't know if we have to ask the children to leave the room, okay? Like, there are just some takes. I know that we've done polls before. I think like 60-70% of you guys are virgins or whatever. So I understand that a lot of this might not make sense. So you're just going to have to take it from me. I'm just going to speak from a position of authority here, okay? There are certain things that I tell you about like sex, dating, relationships. Just trust me. I'm 32 years old. I got a lot of experience. You're just going to have to trust me when I say this, okay? If somebody is romantically interested in you and you're getting wake-up phone calls from them, they're not doing that platonically, all right? Like, oh my fucking god. This is actually such a funny, stupid fucking, like, thing. Like, yeah, this is like the foot massage conversation from Pulp Fiction. Like, I can't even. I actually can't even on this. Like, it's so stupid. Holy shit.
Because the real question is, did PrimeCayes behave inappropriately? But Destiny's interest seemed more to be delegitimizing Kat's concerns by insinuating that PrimeCayes was perhaps justified, or at the very least felt he was justified in behaving the way that he did. Anyway, it was just standard victim blamey stuff, and even if his broader prescriptions ended up being correct, he would have still been wrong. I'll explain why, really quickly, okay? So, imagine, right? Imagine you're on college campus, okay? And a bike gets stolen, and you're like, oh, who stole the bike? And your neighbor gets out, and they say, it was the black guy. And you're like, you don't know that. Why do you think that? And your neighbor is like, well, the warrior gene that every black male is born with predisposes them to act.
I consider myself to be, I have at least 105 IQ. My abstract thinking is pretty good. I have no way how he's going to tie this one back in. I'm actually on the edge of my seat right now trying to figure out how the fuck this analogy ends up tying back in, okay? So if you're confused right now, don't worry. I'm right there with you, okay? I'm so curious how this is going to tie back into this situation, all right? I'm right there beside you.
That every black male is born with predisposes them to acts of violence, which, of course, property theft is a kind of... And like he goes on. And later... it turns out that actually it was the black guy who stole the bike. Does that affirm all the arguments that guy made? No, of course it doesn't. So yeah, no.
This is like, Vaush is like watching my stream, and he's like, I think that Destiny would have been a slave owner in the 1700s. The reason why I know this is because when I watch him play Draven in the bot lane, I notice that he gets ganked over and over and over and over again. Even when allies on his team are pinging him. And when I see that, all I can think of is, in the 1700s, there were still white people communicating with other slave owners that this is wrong and this is immoral. And just like the pings coming from his teammates in fellow jungle, he turned a blind eye to the incoming gank, just like he would have turned a blind eye to the humanity of the slaves that he himself possessed. Like what the fuck is this analogy? What are you doing here? Oh my god.
Whether or not Destiny's community sides with him in that regard will largely come down to whether or not they appreciate good arguments or the aesthetic of good arguments. So that's the acknowledgement I know everyone wanted to see.
It's also like, it's so sad because like, I'm sorry, I'm trying to be like relatively balanced in this, but I'm so obviously right. Like there are some dramas that I've been involved in where I can understand some of you guys are like, I don't know on this one, Destiny. Like, man, I don't know. This is stretch. I'm just so obviously correct in this one. Like this isn't even like up for like really debate. This is obviously like, we know what's happened here. But he still has to take that contrary position. Like the Pokemon thing was fucked up. Yeah, he still has to take that ultra contrary position, just because it's Destiny, which is funny because I'm the one that gets accused of being a contrarian all the time.
It's out of the way. I'm going to spend the rest of the time just talking about all of the information regarding PrimeCayes.
That's good. The Irish Laddie redemption arc.
Okay, I know chat's siding with him. I know what his community's like. Trust me. So anyway. Let's talk about the actual info at hand and waste no more time with this spiteful contrarianism, okay?
Wait, what was the spiteful contrarianism? My takes or your takes?
So,
or did he just admit that his whole thing was spiteful contrarianism? Okay. Are we good with all this? Can I go to bed? Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, can somebody tell me if this tweet is accurate or if this guy's like looking at things in his local time zone? Can somebody tell me, did... Wait, I shouldn't laugh yet. Can somebody go through and verify this tweet? Did Madalis claim that she was getting death threats? And then the next day when she posted proof of those death threats, the timestamps on the death threats show them coming in hours after she claimed she was getting death threats? Can somebody verify that the timestamp is correct and that's not just like a fuck up on like the localization? Yes, she admitted it. They're not the only threats I've received, just the two I shared as proof. Jesus fucking Christ, think people latch on to Discord. She made it up! Also, neither of those accounts even exist on Twitter. Oh my god. What a subhuman pig fucking piece of shit. What a fucking loser, dude. How disappointing. How disappointing. Unbelievable shamelessness. Unbelievable shamelessness. Wow. Did you see this? Click.
He said he told her that if he said anything that makes her uncomfortable, to let him know.
Is that true?
there were a couple of times where like I would make a face and he's like, am I making you uncomfortable? And I was just like, can we go back to what we were working on? But also it's not very wise to ask somebody that generally has communication issues to voice things via communication.
As you communicate for 4 to 6 hours a night, every single night on Discord.
Okay, continue.
Man. Stop with the To Kill a Mockingbird memes, guys. That's over the line, okay? Did you see this?
But here's what I'll say. For now, I'm going to vague post.
Oh, that Prime was suicidal? Yeah. It's literally ableist to expect someone to say words ever. True. I'm just curious if somebody deletes or if a Twitter account gets banned, isn't it the case that it will say like the account was suspended? So is Maddalus claiming, or Maddylus, is she claiming that both of these accounts emailed her? Oh, Maddie Cakes. I'm sorry, not Maddalus. Is Maddie Cakes saying that both of these accounts sent her death threats and then they both deleted their accounts immediately after? Do you think that she made this up completely?
Because that's not always a safe thing to do.
Right.
Unbelievable. Okay, hold on. I'll be right back, and then we're going to talk to Supreme. 1 sec.
Shut the fuck up, Mutin, alright? It's a stupid fucking meme.
Have to admit to some of those conspiracy angles last night were a little whack. Pepe laugh.
You're a genius, dude!
Destiny, don't you just get tired of all the drama that comes along with Twitch and shit, Lamau?
Fucking dubstep.
Unban? 3.
You're a fucking statistician!
Hi.
Fucking dubstep.
50 years or no.
I feel like I've outpaced him intellectually.
Ooh, take my money, ooh.
Shut the fuck up, Mutin, alright? It's a stupid fucking meme.
I am still debating tankies about Afghanistan. Chat, lend me your strength. Chad 0W Panther, $9 and 69 cents. Is the Dylan Burns bridge burned now? As well does Prime Panels survive?
Stop stuffing your fat fucking mouth.
Can Dylan be the jealous type and Katarana had to lie about her relationship with Primes?
I feel like I've outpaced him intellectually.
Sweet. So DGG is an underground radio show now? Christian Fox, $4.99. Josie was telling people in Shud's chat that you were sending people to send death threats to the women on the panel from last night. Daniel Brockman, €5. Destiny, I feel like I've outpaced you sexually. Culliver, $5. Destiny is secretly bunkered in Afghanistan hotel just waiting to soy the Taliban. Smiley face. Golid, $5. What about Blizzard Destiny? Proves there is still a problem with sexual harassment that we as a culture need to address.
Thank you, Steven!
He's gonna kill me again.
You're a fucking statistician!
Hi.
You're a fucking statistician!
Hi.
/raid. Des Tiny.
It's great that we get all this drama without all the leak streams. Woof load in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woof. Daniel Brockman, €10. Destiny, I feel like I've outpaced you in terms of reflexively supporting campaigns to destroy people's lives waged by people who already admitted to suffering from narcissistic personality disorder. Just a reminder that green_horn is a beta fuck poster.
Well, well, well.
Hello?
Alright, what do you want?
What's up, my Sigma?
Nothing much, my Sigma.
Rio
you doing?
Flamel, $5.
Alright.
Yo,
I don't want to
Destiny,
inject
I've
myself
been
into this drama any
holding
more
for
than I
an
already
entire
have.
week to super chat 2 simple
I'm just,
words.
I'm
Kill
just
chaos.
really irritated,
Also,
disappointed
YouTube
that this
chat
is
rise
being
up.
mishandled so terribly yet again. I talked to Dylan earlier. Really, I only have one thing to say to you, which is that last night you were at a crossroads. You were presented with a multitude of options that you could have taken. A lot of different streams you could have gone on. To hear the perspectives of other content creators and partake in some in a dialectic, as our lefty friends like to say. And I was sad to see that last night what you chose, the road you chose, was the road of the beard and not the hair. What do you have to say for yourself?
He came to DGG and asked. You didn't. Get fucked.
Well, checkmate. Okay. I actually did want to talk about fucking like the manipulation thing, like calling Katarana did manipulation. Do you want to discuss that a little bit, or
Sure.
or like give your analysis as to? It seems like you're really comfortable like saying that this is insidious or like devious or something like that, or that all the moral condemnation I think rests with Katarana on this part.
I wouldn't say all of it. So, power dynamics exist in any type of relationship, but for some reason, oh shit, hold on. Fuck. I'm hoping Joe's asleep because she always gets really triggered when I give this take. I think she is. Okay. Okay. People want to look at power dynamics in relationships, but they only ever seem interested in looking at some of the more obvious ones. So for instance, like if you've got a boss or a teacher or somebody that is physically intimidating or somebody that has a lot of money, right? People look at these power dynamics as they're like, oh, the person's ability to consent or not consent is compromised because they might be wanting something else or they might be pressured by something else, right? I think that it's fair to look at the other side of that and say that there also exists a power dynamic where if somebody is like very much in love with or having a crush on somebody, that the opportunity exists for the person on the other end of that one-sided exchange, like the non-reciprocated feelings, to take advantage of that. And I think that that obviously happened here.
So I think there's like keywords that I'm not happy to sign on. I'm not going to jump on board with wholesale just yet, which is like taking advantage of it. It seems to me that in this situation, and I think what occurs in a lot of these situations, for example, we'll go with the employer-employee. Actually, we don't have to in this situation because this was before. I don't want to like misframe this or whatever or mischaracterize. Even when it was just the case that she was just looking to become a streamer and that Prime was offering her a platform, she saw the opportunity that Prime was presenting her. But maybe she identified early on that he had some feelings for her that weren't reciprocated, that she wasn't interested in requiting. I'm not terribly comfortable placing the impetus on her to have to communicate directly. Like, this seems like a game of chicken. I think it would be optimal. It'd be great if like she felt empowered to do so or whatever. But I feel like I'm not terribly comfortable placing all the impetus to like communicate that directly in a way that's blunt enough that she feels it would have compromised or completely like sabotaged her ability to, you know what I mean?
I guess here's the problem is that if we leave the streaming world, and I posit this in any other circumstance, I think that you obviously take my side. Say for instance that a girl is flirting with a guy at a restaurant, and the guy obviously is like heads over heels, like in love with this girl, and the girl is like, she's not feeling it. But then she finds out, oh wait, this guy owns like a really successful business where they sell houses, and she's like, hey, I'm actually gonna go and try to work for you.
Brings him along.
Yeah, and she knows that, he's got a huge crush on me. I bet if I go work for him, I bet he's going to, pay me or whatever. I don't understand how you can say, the other guy's abusing. In a way, you could argue that guy is being a little bit, abusive of a power dynamic there. He's trying to dangle in front of her some job opportunity in exchange for, like, you know, romance. But then on the other hand, she knows that he's interested in her. She knows that she doesn't reciprocate it, but she knows she can get something out of him because of that interest. Like, yeah, I would say that's like a two-sided abusive situation where both parties are acting immorally, easily. Yeah.
Sure. So in this situation, though, we're accepting, we're just taking for granted that they were flirting at a bar or something like that. And what we haven't seen in the Katarana situation, or at least that I haven't seen, is like a clear reciprocation or any clear indication. I know that you are convinced with the whole phone calls and waking up thing that this is a reciprocation. I'm not sure that this is a reciprocation, but regardless, I think if you don't mind shifting.
Yeah, I don't even need to prove any reciprocation. Fuck, that's not relevant. So here's my issue.
Well, there is to make the case that
it's I don't need to, because she said
okay
that the very second that she entered that community, PrimeCayes was like flirting with her. So why didn't she just
coming onto her?
Yeah, why didn't she just either leave or just not associate with him?
Because it was still like it can still be the case that she identified that this is the most likely place for her to be able to begin making her mark in a streaming career.
But she doesn't have a right to that. What do you mean?
She doesn't. She does not have a right to that. Just as much as, you know what I mean. Like I'm not sure that it's necessarily the case that PrimeCayes was offering her an ultimatum. You will gratify me romantically in exchange for me, like, giving you, you know what I mean, like access to my platform or something like that. I don't think he made that offer explicitly or even implicitly. Like, it seems like he was, you know, that these were two tracks that they were operating on. That Prime was interested in having her around the community, and he was also romantically interested in her. And from her perspective, I think I can understand that she was just like, from her perspective, she's like, okay, I risk if I communicate to him outright that I'm not okay with him approaching me this way outright, then I risk him just excommunicating me or disconnecting me from the community, cutting me off because, you know, maybe I've bruised his ego, or, you know, I've hurt his feelings or whatever, and he's going to hold that against me.
Yeah,
but
she doesn't
maybe
she's not even part of that community. Like, it's not like she's like losing all of her friends. Not to mention, this is a massive leap to assume that this is going to happen, that he's going to like completely excommunicado her from the entire fucking community. But like, she doesn't have a right to that community. Like, she doesn't have like any like guarantee that like, oh, I should be able to go here and blah blah. Like, that's...
You're right, but she doesn't need to have a right to like to, I think, be entitled to attempt, you know what I mean, to pursue it. And, you know, again, like, this isn't an ultimatum that's being laid in front of her specifically or explicitly.
So why
it's
would
not
I
a contract.
so why would I extend this much charitability to her when, as I think you admit, or you would say, that she is using him for his platform? You like, we know that, right?
So I'm not ready to sign on to the term using, because it may be true that they had a friendship that they both saw value in. It may be true that she identified he had romantic feelings and that she felt like it was good enough for her to just send as strongly she could signals that she thought were strong enough that he would take the hint eventually, but not so strong that it would hurt his feelings and damage their relationship or something like that.
She literally says in the twit longer that she wasn't comfortable expressing discomfort because she didn't want to lose the platform.
Well, I've learned since that twit longer came out that it's not particularly wise to read too much into the communication sent out by people that are not very good at communication. So, you know, like, I understand that there's an interpretation.
That's not an interpretation. That's like literally just a direct thing. And like, there's even DMs of her out there saying that, like, oh, like, once my platform gets a little bigger, I'll tell you about like who's harassing me and shit. Like, she's using him. Like, just because you're using somebody doesn't mean that somebody can't abuse you. Like, I mean, like, we can go that route, but I'm like, she's using him. Like, it's really obvious. Like,
no, you are reading some intent. You are reading some intent with the whole as soon as my platform gets a little bigger thing.
She's literally saying in her twit longer that I want to continue to lead him on. I'm not going to tell him that I'm uncomfortable because I want access to his platform. She's literally admitting that is her intent. Intentionally, she is not telling him that she's uncomfortable because she wants access to a platform. That's it.
Sure. Listen, can it be possible that that it's a multifaceted relationship that's a little deeper and is not served? The analysis of this relationship and its dynamics are not served by what was written in a twit longer. I know it took her, you know, an entire month to write that twit longer, the masterpiece of the dossier that was compiled.
200-word essay.
Yeah, completely comprehensive expose. I mean, that thing was written in a rush. Whatever. The point is, like, I don't think it's necessarily the case that she herself even understands all the dynamics of the relationship that was had. You know what I mean?
Can I switch off 2021 rhetoric and tell you what I would tell a friend if they did this? I would laugh
I
at
would
them,
love it.
and I would say like, bro, you played the Game of Thrones and you got burned. You got fucked. Like, sorry, that's what you did. You tried to play it, dude, so that you could gain access to the platform. Shit didn't work out, and now you're trying to blow his shit up. The fuck is wrong with you? Don't be an asshole. Like, you tried to play a game, you fucked around, everything got blown up or whatever because of whatever dumb shit. Actually, it didn't even get blown up. She took advantage of him, and now she's potentially taking advantage of other people. And now she's moved on to other platforms. Like, she didn't even get blown up. She got literally everything she wanted out of all of these like interactions, and now she's like moved on to the next thing. Like, no, I'm not gonna sit there and feel bad for you. What do you mean? You literally admitted to being manipulative of the guy. Like, no, that's insane. What the fuck?
I don't think she literally admitted to being manipulative of the guy in the way that you're saying necessarily. I understand that that's what you're reading into that. I understand that you're taking a few things for granted.
Like what?
I just want. Okay, like the fact that it's as insidious as you're pointing it out, and
It's
as
not,
direct.
I'm not saying it's insidious. Girls and guys, like generally it's girls, but guys can do this too. Like, you know that somebody really likes you, and you know that as long as you don't push too hard, you can kind of get shit from them or whatever. Like, people do this shit. People fuck around with people's feelings like this, 100%. This isn't like a crazy. I'm not saying she's like a fucking master schemer or some like crazy shit like this. I just think that like she knows that he likes her a lot, and she can get shit from him if she kind of like plays her cards right, which is what she did. She won. She did really good. She got paid 2 months. She moved on to a next platform. She's got like a ton of e-clout right now. Like, I mean, she was playing the Game of Thrones. And
This
she's
is
winning.
what you're taking for granted, though, Destiny. This is what you're taking for granted, is that she was playing this like without any risk or something like that. But I think if we look at some of her messages of her pushing back on his like romantic advances, we could say that maybe she was taking more risk than she thought the relationship could bear, and maybe she felt like. Go on.
Come on. Risk on a fucking online Discord call? No, there was no fucking risk here. Risk is some shit when you're like meeting people in real life and shit can go really wrong really fast.
Well, the risk to her is being, at one point being fired, and prior to that, like being, disconnected from this community.
To be really clear, she wasn't even working with him, getting paid until like that all that had stopped really long.
Okay,
far
fine.
Away. Yeah,
irrelevant. Let's address the other stuff.
Yeah, sure. What else?
So, like the fact that they had a friendship that maybe she valued, maybe the romantic advances were like a negative aspect to that she was, when it was coming up, doing what she thought was enough or even more than enough to send signals. And I think you and I would interpret those signals as being more than enough, as to be like clear signs of rejection. But PrimeCayes didn't, right? And I think we both identify that as failures on PrimeCayes' part, that he's just bad at reading these signals.
Sure, 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
So maybe from her perspective, she is doing more than she needs to send the proper signals of rejection.
The problem is then all of her story starts to break down and nothing makes sense anymore. And now her character is so destroyed, I can't believe anything she says. Because you can't in one breath tell me I'm too nervous to like send any signals, or I'm too nervous to turn him down because I think I might get fucked. And then in the next breath say, oh, well, I thought that I was giving him signals that were so clear he knew I was turning him down. Like, it's one or the other. You can't have it all the ways here. You're trying to have a cake and eat it and still have the original ingredients. Like, you're trying to do everything here. There's no way you can do all that.
I don't think it's true. And listen, I don't think it's a massive leap to. Earlier, you mentioned that it's a massive leap to assume that like turning somebody down directly is going to cause them to want to like excise you from a community or like terminate a friendship or something like that. I don't know if that's the case, but I do think that this is a thing that like women have to deal with pretty regularly, right? Like playing, like fucking walking this line of, denying like advances, romantic advances, while also being able to spare our egos or whatever the fuck, so that they're not, there's no retribution, there's no retaliation, or whatever.
And I love talking about that. I love talking about how awkward it is when you're a woman. Every guy, basically, I think it was a Chris Rock skit like 20 years ago. Like, every time a guy says something, like there's a hidden message at the end, like, you want some dick with that, right? Like, every time a guy's being nice to you, whatever, like, girls have to think about this shit. 100%. That happens. I'll acknowledge that, of course, especially in these fucking online communities. But if we're going to be honest about that, we need to go on the flip side and be honest that there's a lot of girls, there's a lot of queens and princesses that hang around in these Discord rooms that have the entire fucking room wrapped around their fucking finger. They know that they can get any fucking thing they want from any guy because the ratio of women to men on Discord is like 1 to 1,000, and they know this and they play into that. And you've got to be honest about that side too. You have a guy that is clearly into
fine.
you.
I'm honest about it. You don't have to convince me. I agree.
Okay, so don't give me this like maybe she had a friendship and maybe she was worried that maybe he would retaliate against her if she was more direct, so she had to tell Samantha to tell him, and she had to go give indirect. No, bullshit. She was playing him.
No, I think it's plausible. I think it's plausible.
It is plausible. It's a 1% plausibility. Mine is like 95%. She played him. She played him. She got what she wanted. She won every interaction. What are you talking about?
I don't know. I don't know if that's true.
How?
I mean,
What's not true? Not only did this guy
how can
like look at it from her
how
point
can
of view.
somebody who demonstrated such an inability to prepare and like organize things, like have sent these signals to other people, like in her periphery, like, hey, you know, somebody's like creeping on me, like months in advance, April or whatever the fuck.
What do you mean? What?
Okay, so if she was reaching out to other streamers and saying, hey, somebody's creeping on me, I'm not ready to tell you who it is yet, and like that this same person, like what you're selling to me is that this is some game of 5D chess that she was playing, and that this is some master plan she crafted over a period of months, that she had been reaching out to other people to talk about this guy that was creeping on her, whatever the fuck.
Let me be
months
clear.
in advance.
No, none of this is none of what
But
I've
we
said.
saw her tweet longer, her allegations, that it was disorganized. Like, nobody knew what the
hold
fuck
on.
they were doing.
No, yeah, sure. None of this requires some master fucking scheme. I don't think that most people see. I don't even think most emotional abuse is like scheming shit. Usually people just do shit that they know works. They don't think about it a lot. Even people that like gaslight and stuff, they are not like sitting here scheming it behind the scenes like fucking Light or some shit in Death Note. Usually they just do shit because they know that it works. She had a guy that she had wrapped around her fucking finger, and she knew that if she played him long enough, she could start getting paid by him to do like show work and shit. And then she jumped to the next
You're
guy.
ascribing so much intent there, but that stuff is locked in her head.
I'm literally telling you what happened. I'm not ascribing anything.
No, you're not.
Wait, what
No,
did
you're
I
not.
just say that's not factually descriptively true? She
Okay,
knew that
when
she
you
had.
use
Wait.
the term-
Yeah, go on.
Mhm.
Or,
well, when you use the term like playing him or wrapping him around his finger, there's you're asking me to I think like accept a lot of implications along with that
knew-
terminology.
Okay, hold on. Somebody link me her twit longer. I'll just read it down. Like she's the twit longer is her saying, "I'm playing this fool." That's literally what the twit longer says, word for word. I'm playing this fool, not word for word. Okay, here. Okay, like I can just quote this for you. Okay, this is literally playing somebody. Okay. I've been involved with the Twitch politisphere for about 6 months now, with one of my only points of access to the community being through the occasional hippy-dippy recruitment panel or the more frequent PrimeCayes is his name, panel. From the beginning of my introduction to Prime's community, his interactions with me essentially always have been romantic or sexual in nature, but completely one-sided. On my end, it was always an internal struggle to decide whether I got to keep my dignity in the situation and express discomfort, or suck it up and grow as a streamer through him giving me a platform. This incentive only increased when I started to produce for him and I was paid for my work. Like that's playing somebody. You're playing them. That's descriptively. It's all there.
Well, okay. So I understand that she's playing, or that she is like, communicating this as a binary. It was always an internal struggle to either decide whether I get to keep my dignity in the situation and express my discomfort, or suck it up and grow as a streamer through him giving me a platform. That this is a binary. But I think it's probably more like a scale. And that maybe she's not super good at communicating this. And this is me being charitable because, listen, I'm fucking plausible Andy, okay? I'm Intel Andy. Nothing is good enough until it's good enough. And, like, we just have so little evidence. And, like, the amount that we're having to read into the language here and ascribe intent and, like, create our own interpretations and posit those as the only possible or plausible interpretations, this stuff rubs me the wrong way.
I mean, if we could provide it, I would feel comfortable that I could sell this to a jury. Like, it is so.
Yeah, sure. You probably could.
When you get people saying shit like, "I was gonna tell him I was uncomfortable, but goddamn, dude, if he lets me on a stream, I get a fuck ton of viewers. Maybe I can work for him in the future." Like, dude, you're playing the guy, and you know that he's like head over heels, like fucking in love with
I
you,
understand
and you're like,
that's what
"Bro,
you're saying.
you can call me in the morning to wake me up. We'll talk for 6 hours a night, like on fucking Discord every fucking night." Like, you're playing the dude, 100%. You're playing him.
This may be an argument that you and I have like over
Sure,
and,
we
and
just
over
disagree.
again,
Yeah,
I
okay,
think.
sure.
Yeah, I think you seem a little bit confident to jump on board with like, straight up a conspiracy theory, and I think it is plausible, and it may even be likely. Okay. Like, I'm not discounting what you're saying. I'm not even saying it's impossible or implausible or unlikely, but given what I've seen, I'm not sold on that yet, and we have so little evidence, you know what I mean, either way. One thing we do know for sure is that this is not a person who's very good at communicating, you know what I mean? So, like, going solely reading into, like, one sentence and like, I don't know, taking that at face value and trying to spin a narrative out of that is not something I'm ready to do.
And I agree we can agree to disagree. I just want to clarify the links one more time. I'm not asserting a massive conspiracy here. I'm just saying that you see a guy that's hopelessly into you, and he's got a big fucking platform, so you fucking play him. Like,
and she's telling him like, no,
I've been played
bye,
before. It happens. There was that one girl
Yep.
that I helped build her computer on stream, the super ultra sexy one, and she's in other people DMs saying shit like, I can talk to any fucking guy streamer because I'm fucking hot, and I know that they'll help me. Shit like, dude, it's happened to me before, man. It happens. Some girls play the game well, and you get fucked. Fuck it. That's great. You know, people do it. It happens. Sometimes you fuck around and find out. Sometimes you get caught and whatever, right? Like, that's it. There's not like a huge conspiracy here. It's not like some shit that
Okay,
you ultra
but she's
plan
also
out,
like telling him no and shit, right?
No,
Like, she's also sending him-
wrong. Hold on. You either just lied or you're totally factually incorrect. She never told him to stop or said no to anything, ever. Don't say that. No.
Okay,
She didn't say that. Go ahead.
Like, listen, we've seen very little of their conversations, and what we've seen is not enough to come to a conclusion either way. But we have for sure seen like him, you know, saying the messages about like fucking, you know, like her saying die, him saying that like if I kiss you, then I'll have no reason to live. She says no. He says yes. She says no.
Wait, hold on.
She says
one,
bye.
this happened before they had a working relationship, and two, come on, you want to talk about
it's irrelevant.
Well, you want to talk about reading into things? I don't know how the fuck they flirt. I don't know if she's saying
Yeah,
like.
I agree with you.
Okay,
I presented
hold on,
this defense to Dylan as well.
Sure,
I
that's
agree
great.
with you.
So don't bring.
Could have been a cute interaction
but you
or something,
can't-
or that's how he interpreted it.
Yeah, so, but I'm just saying you can't say like you can't say shit like you're reading too much into this and asserting conspiracy. I'm not asserting conspiracy. I'm just going by what she said about everything that's happened. Everything I'm saying
you
is like
are.
no, it's just descriptively true.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Well,
yeah, we can move on to the next part of this. Yeah.
Sure. I understand. Like you've supplied me your reasoning for the analytic leap, the jump the conclusion that you are jumping to, and I understand why you're taking it.
Sure. I really don't like your.
Yeah.
I don't like the way you phrase this. Like, listen.
I know you don't.
If you want, well,
I'm
not
totally
jumping.
I'm sitting pretty.
Okay.
I'm totally
I'm
comfortable.
not jumping to conclusions. It's
This was my career. I did this for a living for a long time. Go ahead.
okay.
For the same reason I had the problems with the way that Dylan presented this, for the exact same reasons. If you want to be able to make a case with the gravitas, you know what I mean, with the potential condemnation, with the weight that it has, such as sexual harassment, or in this case, like manipulation or something like that, you better have some concrete evidence more than just like, I can interpret what was said in this way to have these potential implications. Otherwise, I'm just not going to jump on board.
And I
but
understand
that's me.
that, but from everything that
You
I've
might be able to convince a lot of people.
Sure. All I'm saying is that from what I said in that tweet longer, she outright said that she was manipulating him. But I guess we're maybe.
Nope, she didn't outright say it.
She did.
You're reading that.
I'm not.
Nope.
She said, I didn't tell him that I was uncomfortable because I knew I could benefit from him. Right? Did she say that?
She said that in so many words, but I
come
personally.
on!
Yeah, but okay, fine. You
Okay.
trust that she's a perfectly rational actor and that she's a great communicator and that as she communicates things, she's able to like objectively communicate her own thought processes. I don't even give her that much credit. I don't give any individual that much credit.
Okay.
We better see the logs where she was telling somebody in advance where she's just like, hey, I'm going to play PrimeCayes. I can't stand this dude. Fucking, he wants to call me every day. I got him calling to wake me up or whatever the fuck. That's what it's going to take to begin to change my mind. But that's me.
Wait, so what about like the one screenshot where she's literally saying shit like I'll lose my platform if I say anything. I need to get a little bit bigger, then I'll tell you about this.
Sure. So I would just consider that that's still a factor. It's still like she's considering one dimension of their relationship to be transactional to the extent that she, you know what I mean? Like that he does offer this to her. Listen, Destiny, you and I have this type of relationship. It would be dishonest for me to say that I'm not talking to you right now because I know that it means like positive things for me and like my future in streaming, right?
Sure.
But it's also true that I like you and I support you as a creator and I like think the stuff that you do is generally really good. In the same way,
but the
Katarana
thing is, I am entering this relationship without any like false pretense or anything. Like, let's say that in the back of this, let's say that you had been telling me the whole fucking time that you were actually a Challenger League support player and you were going to help boost me to Masters. And you were telling me that in the background the whole time, and then you never even played League. Do you think at that point then you're just taking advantage of me and it's bullshit?
At that point, am I taking advantage of you?
Because now I'm giving you access
what
to
is
my
required?
because I'm giving
what
you,
is required for me to say that I'm taking advantage of you is for there to be some intent on my part to never play League with you.
Well, yeah,
and to be able to establish that, you need a smoking gun, where I pretty much admit that.
But she's not going to date him. She doesn't like him. We know that's not
Sure,
going to
and
happen.
she's also sending him like, or we have some evidence that she's like sending him signals that I think most people. You admitted earlier that you said where Prime fucked up was that he failed to read her.
Yeah, I agree, but failed to read is some plausible deniability bullshit. She literally said point blank. She said it in multiple DMs. She said on a Dylan stream that she did not tell him to stop. That she never directly.
Yeah, she didn't tell him directly. But that's where I say that I'm not sure that the impetus, ought to be placed on like people in this situation to like tell somebody bluntly at the risk of, you know what I mean, like other parts of the transactional relationship that they have that they feel
so like you understand
they
that
have a reasonable
your bar for evidence here, even in a court of law, even for criminal shit, like would never be the standard. That like the only way you can convict or convince somebody is if you can literally find a screenshot of her saying, "I intend to manipulate and play this young man to gain like access to his private." Like that is never going to happen, right?
I accept that my standard is higher than like the jury of your peers or the reasonableness standard.
Okay.
I accept that. That's fine.
Okay. Well, without me being able to like subpoena and then like arrest and torture her with like truth-telling drugs to figure out, like I'll never be able to get that evidence for literally anything. Like you're just not going to ever know that kind of stuff. People will never admit that.
Well, I don't know. Apparently, you're in a lot of discords where you know this stuff well in advance and you see how people talk behind the scenes. I was really hoping that you would come out with something.
I'm not going to have a log of her saying I intend to play this
or
guy.
Somebody.
Wait,
listen.
Who else is gonna know? Wait, what do you mean?
I don't know. It just seemed like you were making a lot of vague threats, and we didn't see anything.
Well, I'm pretty sure I exposed the entirety of them like lying almost every single step of the way about what was happening. I exposed the fact that they have a relationship that they didn't disclose. I exposed the fact that Samantha didn't have the logs that she said she had. I exposed the fact that there was no conversation with Prime where he was told that he needed to stop something. Like, what do you mean that nothing happened? Like, the entirety of their story fell apart upon a little scrutiny. When you get like messages like this, like this to me is just. I mean, it's as clear as night and day. You're never going to get anything more clear than this.
I'm not sure if that's true. We'll see what happens. I think, you know what I mean? Like when I say I'm not sure if that's true, I think what a lot of people are hearing are that I disagree and that it's likely that more will come out. I'm not making that claim. I'm trying to make sure that my language matches the extent to which I can substantiate anything that I say. It's tough. It's, you know what I mean? It's a set of habits that I've formed over, you know what I mean? Over a career.
Okay.
But, you know,
well,
I just want to say
that works outside the system, so I don't have the ability to access like subpoena powers or to hack people's shit to figure out. I have to rely a little bit more on intuition. So that's what I have to go by.
You
generally.
You have to rely on your intuition, but you can conform to I think more responsible language the same way that I do. But listen,
but the problem,
that's not my requirement.
But this is
you don't
the
have
problem.
to march to the beat of my
drum.
drum.
The problem is that like if I'm there's some witty saying for this, but I don't know what the witty saying is. I can't think of it at the moment. But for me to conform to an ultra responsible language while the other side is like coming out with guns blazing basically fucks whatever side I'm looking to defend. I'm not going to be very careful and couched with my speech. I am to some extent, but I'm not going to be ultra charitable to one side when the other side is literally coming in and accusing another dude of sexual harassment of his employees and calling him a sex pest. That's not fair. That I'm not going to put my standard of evidence like that because whatever side I'm protecting or defending is always going to get fucked every single time. Why the fuck would I say anything anyway? I might as well just start my stream and say, "Hey guys, I don't have 100% rock solid evidence of anything, so LOL, bye." Good luck, Prime.
Yeah, that would be ridiculous, of course. I think it's fine to share your opinion. I think it's another thing to say 100%, I guarantee you this, that, or the other, whatever the fuck. But listen, you do you. Honest to God, you do you.
Okay.
I'm just providing
sure.
I'm here. Go ahead.
To be clear, I've said in the past, and I told it to Dylan, and I'll say it again, by the way, like 2 or 3 things. There are things that could be released, and I would just be like, boom, Prime is in the wrong 100%. If somebody could show me a single log, a single anything of somebody saying, "Prime, you need to stop this," and he continues doing it, then bam, Prime is an asshole. Fuck him. I'll jump immediately. Jump ship. Yeah.
I
second
agree.
thing, if somebody could show me a call of him acting clearly inappropriately, her like being incredibly uncomfortable or telling him like, "Hey, like I don't appreciate that" or something like that, then boom, I'll jump ship. Like, okay, you should have known.
That's the first thing I said about these allegations.
So those 2 things, I would switch completely. But in the absence of that, all I can do is infer. And god damn, everything looks pretty fucking clear without some crazy evidence coming up from the other side.
I'm sorry?
Everything looks pretty clear for what happened, unless like the other side has some crazy bomb that they're sitting on, which they could be, but they probably should have released it first. But yeah, we'll see.
I have my opinions about this, and I'm pretty comfortable with them as well, but they don't include like a nefarious plot to use somebody that you weren't interested in being friends with, and that like Katarana was was enduring these like
Sure.
hours-long conversations with Prime that
Please.
she otherwise wasn't interested in.
Just stop saying conspiracy or plot. This is a rhetorical tactic that you're employing
it's
to
not-
weaken my argument. I'm not asserting a conspiracy or a plot. I'm just saying that she saw that the dude had a big crush on her. She thought she could gain something from that. That's all I'm saying.
That is like kind of a plot though, and that is what you're positing, and I do think that that's like kind of nefarious in a way that I maybe don't think it was.
Okay, well,
I think
yeah,
you're ascribing some intentionality that maybe wasn't there.
Okay, well, from my perspective, I don't think that anybody on the left will ever admit that a woman can use a man. So I think that's what's happening here. But all right,
Okay.
what do you want?
If all you need to hear from me, if all you need to hear from me is that what you're saying is plausible, then yeah, I agree that it is. And you know what? As much as I'm saying maybe that wasn't the case, maybe it was the case. And I know this sounds like some fence it and bullshit or whatever the fuck, but like,
okay,
you know, language is one of my things. I see the way that people play with language.
Gotcha.
Fucking man.
What's the next part?
I do want to go back to the fact that it seems like earlier you were. I guess I just want to ask you directly. When you say that, it seems like Prime failed to pick up some signals. Based on the signals that were being sent to Prime, based on the very limited scope of the information that we've seen, how would you have interpreted those signals?
I don't see all of their calls, so it's really, really hard for me to tell.
Mhm.
That's
it is.
Yeah.
But how would you have interpreted the signals that you saw in the context that we saw
As
them?
somebody that has talked, and I hate to do like the experience thing, I've talked to a lot of different women. Some of my conversation, like, it's just hard to say. So there's a girl that lives in Toronto that I really like. Her name is V, right? Sometimes she ignores my messages for like 2 weeks at a time. Like if I go through some of my logs with her, I'll message her like 2 or 3 times, and she won't respond to me for like 2 weeks. Like, so if she was clipping things out, and she was like, hey, like, Destiny is like really creepy, and sometimes he doesn't get a hint or blah blah blah. I think she could I think that she could clip enough out of our messages that makes me look like a desperate loser, like a desperate horny loser fuck. So like I'm not gonna
I'm not gonna move away from this.
Sure,
okay,
I'm fine. That's fine. But I'm telling you,
Okay.
I'm not gonna look at like 2 pages of like somebody like responding to something and say like, oh yeah, he definitely fucked up 100%, because they're having 6-hour calls every day. If I don't have that context, how could I possibly?
But
like,
you said it. You did say it though. You said you wouldn't say that, but you did say it.
Say what?
Earlier in the stream, you said, yeah, I think Prime fucked up. There were some signals Prime wasn't picking up. I think Prime fucked up. Where does that come from?
I said it looks to me like that was the case, but now
What about
it
looks that way?
So her initial thing about not dating him, but not ruling it out 100%. If I read that from a girl, I would know that this girl is trying to use me and string me along. I would know that 100%, because I've seen girls try to fuck around with guys like that. So when I would see a message like that, I would go, get this fucking cunt the fuck out of here. I know what the fuck she's about, and I'm done interacting with this person ever. Like, I would block and remove that person and never associate with them, because it's worse than them being unclear. It's them. I know they're trying to fuck with me. So as soon as I saw that message, I would have been like, boom, I'm done. Fuck that. 100%.
Okay. I have one more thing for you, and I guess I'm curious. I'm not
To be
super
really
clear
clear,
on
wait.
your total.
Do you know which message I'm talking about?
No, go ahead.
Oh fuck. I don't know if somebody has a screenshot to it, but it was the one where he asked her about like being faithful in a relationship or something, and her response was this like, I don't think I could date you now, maybe in the future, but I wouldn't hold my breath. But I'm not saying like boys are icky.
And then she's like, and I might not be available later or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, like that. That's an answer where you're fucking around and you know it. You're trying to like, you're trying to keep the other person interested without giving any kind of concrete. That's what that is.
And sitting in Destiny's shoes, sitting in Destiny's shoes and reading that, I understand why you come to that conclusion. Sitting in Katarana's shoes and reading that, I understand. Charitably, I can understand and accept that, like, the way that she interpreted that is, I feel like I'm giving this guy a lot of signals to just, like, that to stop pursuing it. And sitting in PrimeCayes' shoes, I can understand that his perception of that is, it looks like, he's fucking Lloyd in Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there's a chance that that's going on.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's perfectly plausible. There's one last thing, okay? And that's, I guess it's on the same theme of this whole, ought the impetus be on the woman to communicate directly? You know what I mean? When there's a streamer who is being granted an opportunity from somebody else who operates a larger platform, ought the impetus be on that streamer to tell somebody directly that their behavior is inappropriate? And if they don't, is it manipulation?
It depends on how they play into the behavior.
I see. I guess I just want to ask, how does this compare to the Ophelia Bear situation?
With Bob 7?
Yes.
Ophelia Bear was that stupid fuck that God, I hated that motherfucker. I don't even remember why, but I know she's filed away in the like worst people in my brain. She was the one.
Baker.
What?
I don't know why. I don't know the whole story. You would have to explain to me why.
Wait,
that
if you
is,
don't know the
but
whole
we don't
story,
have
why are
to
you
go
making
there.
the comparison?
Because that was your nuke, right? I just remember that this was your nuke, was this call that you had with Ophelia Bear where she was admitting to third parties that Bob 7 was saying all this yikers stuff to her, but she didn't want to push back because she liked the guy and she wanted to be on the show. That was your nuke.
Yeah, so I think that the difference here was that Bob 7, number one, reached out to her, right?
Okay.
Like, he found her, and then he started to dangle in front of her the opportunity for the show while simultaneously pursuing, like, a sexual relationship with her, while simultaneously, like, shit-talking her and tearing her down to a whole bunch of other people. Like, I think that in looking at Bob 7's actions here, I think that he is engaged in some level of manipulation. To make this equivalent now, and by the way, I will fully admit this, okay? If Prime had some logs that came out and Prime was saying shit like, fuck, like, you're really fucking hot, you know, you'd actually be a really good addition to the Lily K thing or like the whatever panel or whatever, right? If those logs came out and you could see that Prime was kind of like dangling stuff in front of her to get her to like, you know, date him or send nudes or some shit like that, then yeah, I would say like, okay, Prime is like being abusive of his position. But I haven't seen anything like that.
Okay. That's all I wanted to ask. That's all I got for you.
Okay. Anything else?
I hope you have a good day. Well, I don't know. I had a lot of criticism for a lot of people. I think everybody really fucked up yesterday. You've
hold on,
heard
wait.
my contention.
I hate that. I hate that more than anything. Actually, I hate that more than bad actors. I love you, but when a seemingly reasonable person comes into an area where one side has clearly acted horrendously and then comes in and is like, well, I think we've all made mistakes here. I think that you are fucking one side so much harder there and you don't need to be. Like, would you honestly say that the level of mistakes that PrimeCayes has made here is reaching the level of mistakes that Dylan and Katarina have made here? Would you agree with that?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay,
I would not say that. And I provided this analysis yesterday. I talked to Dylan for a long time yesterday, and I am really disappointed in Dylan, and he knows it.
Sure. So I reject what you said earlier. You can stand by it if you want, but I would never accept somebody saying like, "Oh, everybody made mistakes here." Bullshit. They fucked up really hard. They had a month to prepare this. The Twitlonger was a sham. They had no log. Like, no, I reject that. But
now you're being my book smarts. I like this dynamic. This is fine.
No,
you've been in this position before, and I've appreciated it, honestly. When it came to the cops thing, you did check me where my rhetoric could have been the gut reaction that people were going to have to what I said was going to lead them to interpret something in a way other than I meant it. And in this case, it's the same thing. I do think it's true that everybody made mistakes yesterday, but I also think it's true that I think there's a serious moral impetus for Dylan to consider that he, you know, I called it, potentially murder yesterday.
Yeah, I saw.
And I don't know. How do you feel about that?
I don't think I can sign on to that, but I understand why you're there. It's just that's a really hard one to get on board with. But I understand what you're saying.
Specifically in the case, I kind of made this case to him a little further afterwards, where it's like, hey, if you look at everything you did, I asked him specifically, if you wanted to burn PrimeCayes, if you wanted to hurt him and like hurt his livelihood, how would you go about it? And he just said more vitriol. And the case that I was trying to make is that if it were his intention to hurt PrimeCayes, it seems like he did everything that you would have done to hurt him.
Yeah, I
right?
don't know.
Given what he had.
If somebody commits suicide, I don't know how at fault you are for that. Like, let's say that I get into a fight with someone on Twitter, and let's say I go like, oh, fuck you, kill yourself, blah, 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 blah. And, like, I do that to, like, 90 people, and then, like, one person, like, actually kills themselves. Like, did I murder that person? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like we have precedent for that now, right?
No, we don't.
Wasn't there that case with that young girl and like her ex-boyfriend?
That case with that young girl was somebody that was incredibly close to him that through like months of messaging was encouraging him to kill himself. It was not like a one-off interaction or whatever. That was a long time building. And
fair enough. And listen, I'm not here to say that. Listen, I think I have a better I think a fine enough appreciation for how the legal system works than to simply say things are or aren't a thing. It comes down to, the cases have to be made, right?
Yeah, of
And in
course.
this case, I think the case would be made is if your actions are made with the intent to hurt somebody and the result is that they die.
Sure, but like there's a difference between like intent to hurt somebody versus intent for somebody to kill themselves, right? Like when I quote tweet somebody and I think they gave a dumb take, my intent in some ways is to hurt that person. I want them to feel dumb for what they said. But if they kill themselves, is that murder? Like, I don't know if that's fair. Like if anybody,
of course, there has to be a lot of wiggle room here. Of course.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah.
But okay.
Well, that's all I got.
Okay. Well, I love you, buddy. Okay. Stay safe.
I love you more. Mwah.
All right. Anybody else or? Okay. What is this? Hold on.
What the fuck?
Have time to be on the phone
We've
all day.
literally had an
Like I told
Amazon
you,
Lily
Carolina
about
is an
him
incredible woman.
justifying outing people.
So, she's her relating that. Like she's focused on her job at this moment. Well, I'm not asking you to be my girlfriend now. Maybe your schedule will change in the future.
This is
I'm
this
just
is
enjoying my
the
time with
worst.
you right now.
So there's this thing that I think I brought on that's like the Ask the Girl's Guide to Being Safe with Men, because this is an issue with people on the fucking spectrum.
Rude, ew, boy. You have cootie way.
And he's like outing every mental disorder.
Sorry. Oh fuck! I clicked up. He's outing every mental.
Because that's not always.
Bro, if you're gonna defend yourself with a mental disorder, of course you're gonna out the mental disorder. Oh man, dude, this Matty Cakes panel was wild last night. I got so many crazy clips.
And he's like outing every mental disorder, every like her orientation,
Like,
just everything.
was it like how much of this information was given to him in confidence?
None of this was
right?
necessary.
Like,
None of this was
violated-
necessary for the story.
Like, what the fuck is
or
he-
for him to apologize.
Right?
Well,
like,
I can
what
read
does this
real
have to
good.
do with him
I have the
sexually
best one.
harassing her?
One of my favorite things was when people said that. I've seen people say that I've outed Dylan as bisexual. Like, once a person is gay, you can out them for not being gay. What is even happening anymore? Oh my god! Like, dude, I don't know anymore. Oh my god! I'm like, what even is? Okay, well. Stop letting people say Kat is bad at communicating with the twit longer. Dylan helped write the twit longer word for word, and Dylan is not bad at communicating. True. Destiny is leading the charge and blaming the victim. True. Okay. Was there anything else that I missed over the past week that I need to cover? So you and Dylan aren't friends anymore? I'm fine with Dylan. I mean, I think this is kind of dumb, but it takes a lot to make me hate somebody. He didn't attack me personally. I don't know. Afghanistan, that shit sucks. I don't know what else to say about that. Hassan being mad about your clips with XQC. Hassan is just... I remember when he was talking about the... Remember when he was talking about the Nico girl? And he was like, I don't live a lavish lifestyle like that. Oh, man. What a meme. I can't watch a video right now. It lags my internet too much. There's no way. Did he even buy that house? Yeah, if it's reported on by Dirt, yeah, he probably did, yeah. Click Midu's link. If it's about Maddie, I don't care. Oh, I've seen this, yeah. Did the Prime, or no, not Prime. Did the Lance Lauren debate ever get set up? Are those guys, are they gonna hop into the arena, or did that whole thing die? Oh, shit. If you like, I see your Prime. I think we're probably good. I think we got it all out of the way. I'll join you later, okay? Bye. Did you see that Lauren did a stream about the Prime drama as well? Oh, I haven't seen that at all. I don't know what she said about it. I don't know anything about the ABBA and Preach stuff. I haven't watched that either. I haven't had time. Samantha Banana deleted Lauren's VOD of it. Nice. What about the politically provoked Discord memes? Samantha got that whole Discord nuked, so... Yeah, username Wantif. I think I even called him out on that. Okay. I love you guys. It's been fun. Oh! Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I remember seeing this. This is like a week old. I don't know if this even matters ago. People were saying that I, like, helped Lauren, like, prep for a debate that I was, like, doing all the research for or whatever, for the serfs debate, and I'm, like, trying to help Nazis defeat whatever. I've talked to her about, like, debate-related stuff, and I've talked to her about, like, debating Lance and shit. She does research. She did all that work on her own. Like, sometimes she would send me shit, and I would, like, look it over, and I'd be like, oh, is this true, is this true, is this true? But, like, I wasn't, like, feeding her information, or I wasn't, like, coaching her to, like, own the left-leaning people or whatever. I would just look shit up if she, like, sends it to me or whatever, and they'd be like, oh, yeah, I don't know if this is true or not, or this is good or not, but, yeah. There's this, like, I think there's this idea that I'm doing this, like, Rocky montage with Nazis or some shit in the background in order to, like, own the left or the libs, or I don't even know, but, yeah. Is D&D still happening tomorrow? Maybe, I think so. Are they indirect saying that you do defeat lefties? Oh, maybe. Also, to be clear, but however, like, in the case of those debates, I don't give a fuck, like, I don't care who the Nazis are, or who the lefties are, or who the social, like, I just care about, like, which side is, like, factually correct. I've said that a million times. I'll say that a million more times. Like, I'm not interested in, like, helping a side. Like, I don't stake out a position and it's like, I'm here to help the left. I'm here to, like, I just care about, like, what is factually correct, and then, like, what moves me towards, like, I think this makes the world the best thing it is. Like, that's all I care about. That's all I ever care about. So if Lauren and Connor end up being the ones that have the factually correct points, and Lance and that cringe rabbit dude that deleted all of his online shit, if those guys end up being incorrect, then of course I'm siding with Lauren and Connor 100%. Oh shit, and I remember the reason why I brought this up. Another thing too is There was a post on my subreddit where I think the implication had to do with like August was editing out like parts of a conversation to try to make it sound like he was hiding something in my streams. When August makes YouTube videos, something that you guys don't consider, and to be honest, I didn't even consider this until August brought this up. The YouTube audience is not the same thing as the Twitch audience. Like, there are a ton of people that watch YouTube videos that have they don't really watch streams at all. So when he's creating YouTube videos, he's usually doing it with YouTube audiences in mind. So if I'm making references in a YouTube video to something that hasn't been uploaded on the channel, for instance, like a past conversation with Lauren, which wasn't uploaded, he'll like edit stuff like that out to make it so that the video kind of like flows more seamlessly and people aren't feeling like a whole bunch of stuff is being referenced that they're missed out on. That was his, I think he posted on the server about that. Or if you want, you can think that like I'm intentionally telling him to intentionally misleadingly edit my conversations, even though all my VODs are available and all that shit as well. Most importantly, if you guys are trying to watch my stream overseas or something and you guys aren't able to access it for some reason, it might be the case that whatever ISP you're using is blocking that type of traffic. Now, I know what you're thinking. Destiny, there's got to be some way for me to smuggle this traffic in without people being able to see it or block it. Maybe I don't want people looking at my traffic that shouldn't be. Maybe I don't want access to content that I've paid for being blocked for no reason. Well, lucky for you. Lucky for you. I happen to have a great deal from Surfshark VPN, okay? 83% off and 3 extra months for free if you use promo code Destiny. 83%. Oh my god. What a discount. The second largest VPN provider in the world, okay? They don't keep logs. Your traffic is encrypted. You'll be able to access all your favorite content no matter where you are in the world. It's easy to use. Download it on all your devices. It works on tablets. It works on iPhones. It works on Androids. It works on computers, laptops, PCs, desktops. Desktops. What did I say? It works on, even if there was a desktop, it works on that as well. Make sure to check that out. Surfshark. Boom. Okay. Somebody send me the link to this promo. Okay. Thank you. All right. Who's streaming? Who's getting the host?
Oh, now see, that was a very quick game.
No one cares. Wait, what? What time is it? Why is she streaming? Wait, what time is it? Time, California. Oh shit, it's 1 o'clock. Oh, I'm gonna host Scardor. This guy raids me every day, and I'm like never in a position to raid him.
You punching me?
But he's playing fucking Maple Story. Does anybody watch that? I don't know. All right. I love you guys. It's been fun. Ripper and a cappuccino, poppuccino, hoppuccino, moppuccino, cappuccino, cappuccino, appuccino, albuccino, my dudinos. I will catch you guys maybe tomorrow, Reno. Stay safe. Be careful.